bitch.
Welcome back to episode 18 of A Shot of Weeb, and you just called me that in the middle of an intro. How dare you? Welcome to Shot of Weeb, where both of the hosts are idiots.
Gamer, bro. That's me.
I am the Epic Wob, as I have been every week, and I am here joined by the Seaweed Ambassador as we discuss the show of the week, Seaweed's pick, Inuyashiki.
Yes, not to be
What do you have
confused with the dog demon. I'm getting your joke out of the way first, buddy.
I actually wasn't going to say it this time. I said it in the last, 3 episodes.
Yeah, too bad.
You brought that on yourself, man. What do you have to say about your pick? What brought you to choose Inuyashiki Last Hero from 2017?
Well, I mean, I watched the show as it was airing back in 2017. I don't remember why I thought about it again, honestly. I might have been thinking about Gantz, and I was like, Gantz is too long. Gantz is way too long, because I think it's like 50 episodes. Or maybe it's just 25. I don't remember.
I don't know. I'm only familiar with the movie. It had a movie, yeah.
Oh, Gantz Zero?
Yeah. I remember that one.
Yeah. No, there's a whole anime that came out mid to late 2000s, I believe. It's good. I liked it. But, this is made by the same person, or the manga is. And I don't know. I just wanted to, I guess, I thought about that clip. That's what it was. The One Piece clip. And if you've seen the show,
that's what brought you back into it.
I thought about it. I was like, you should check this out. And then I was like, yeah, this is what we're watching. Because I wanted to, honestly, a little part of me was like, I kind of want to see him. I kind of want to force him to watch this show since he hated that clip so much. But another part of me was like, I think he'll actually like the show. So it wasn't like full of malintent. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Well, I mean, I can say with confidence that having showed me that clip and just that clip and then reading the description, but mostly only having that clip to go off of, you set me off on the complete wrong foot about this show.
Yeah, I mean, I know you have bad taste.
You picked a garbage clip to introduce me to the show with.
I did not. I picked a fantastic clip.
But pretty much anything else from the first 2 episodes would have gotten me interested. Anything else.
Okay, well, before we get into that, we got a shot to take.
Yeah, we do. I'm not
can...
ready for working with you.
Well, that's what alcohol's for, right?
Honestly.
Oh,
Shot
man.
number 3. Let's go.
All right. Kampai.
Kampai.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okay. There we go.
It's gotten warm, too. That's not helping. I let my drinks get warm.
Mine is always... I don't put mine in the fridge or anything.
I should. I used to keep mine in the fridge, and then it broke.
I used to keep mine in the freezer, but now, I don't know. I don't know why I don't chill it anymore, actually.
Well, I mean, my not sponsored table, as I like to call it, that's just the corner of the mini fridge, but it's unplugged. Yeah. I had to defrost it because it was just freezing over everything.
What's perfect for alcohol?
Froze over my... No, it would
hard
freeze...
alcohol. It wouldn't do that to vodka.
Okay, that's fair, but, I mean, I wound up giving up and unplugging it. This was one of the episodes, I don't remember which one, but one of the episodes we did, I had some Mike's Harder in that freezer.
Yep.
And, it froze all of the lemonade, but not the alcohol. And that was
a trip. That was a good one.
That was not a good time.
That was a while ago.
That nearly canceled the episode that week.
That did, yeah. Yeah, you hated that drink.
I wish I could remember what week that was.
I don't remember. But
it's the Easter egg hunt. Go through our old episodes. You'll find out where I nearly died.
Yeah. Yep. Not too much content. There's only 17 other episodes that are only around 2 hours long. Not too bad.
That is so many hours of just us talking. Holy crap.
That's like 1.5 days or something.
Jeez, man. And I'm intimidated by One Piece. What happens when we catch up to One Piece?
I mean, I'm almost caught up. I fell a little bit behind, but...
How could you? Shame on you.
Speaking of One Piece, though, let's talk about Inuyashiki.
Let's talk about Inuyashiki. I'm stalling again. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, I'll have you start. You start.
Oh, you'll have me start?
Yeah.
Okay. Inuyashiki is a name. That's the name of the grandpa. Well, he's not a grandpa. He's a dad, but he looks like a grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
He's the best old guy. in anime ever.
I'm not gonna put him that high up. He's pretty cool though.
I do. I really like him.
Okay.
His family won't even give him the time of day. They're just kind of like, how dare you exist around us? It's not what they say, but that's how they act.
Yeah.
He is sad, and then he finds a dog.
Yeah.
And he hangs out with the dog, and it's a good pupper.
It's good. It's a Shiba, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
It's good.
And it's a good dog, and they hang out, and they become friends, but he's still sad. And his family is like, dogs are disgusting, how dare you?
Yeah. He had to keep it in his room. And I guess he, like, lives in he, like, sleeps in a separate room from his wife, I guess.
No, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, he absolutely does.
Which is kind of weird, but I don't know. Maybe that's not as weird, but I still think it was... I know, like, there's the whole thing of, like, separate beds in Japan. Like, especially with, like, futons and stuff. You don't, like, share a futon. But, like, I don't think that separate rooms are really a thing. Like, unless it's, like, his office, you know. I can understand, like, having an office that's your room. But he had a bed in there.
Yeah.
There's a whole ass bed.
Yeah, it looked like a separate room. And then he has 2 kids. He has 2 kids in high school. But he's also, like, old. He's, like, 58 or something.
Yeah, but also he looks a lot older than he actually is.
Yeah.
Because that's
he
something
looks
the
ancient.
doctor says to him. Because he goes to the doctor to get... I guess it's just like a general checkup. Wasn't it?
Possibly? Probably.
And then the doctor's like, oh, shit. Damn, dog, you gonna die in a month.
3 months. I think it was 3 months. Or was it 3 weeks?
Yeah, it was 3 months. It was 3 months. He's like, you got 3 months to live. Because you have, like... What kind of cancer was it?
I think it was stomach cancer?
Yeah, stomach cancer. And I think it had, like, spread to his lungs or something, too. It spread somewhere else.
Wild.
It was spread somewhere else, and he was like, it's way too late to operate or do anything. So he tries to tell his family, and they're all like his wife is like just nagging him about something else, and his kids won't pick up their phones. And so he's like, all right, I'll just go take my dog for a walk. And so
guess I'll die.
Yeah, so then he goes to the park, and then he sees this kid there. This
17-year-old other high schooler.
Yeah, like hot boy. He's a bishi for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that's like half of the idle dialogue. Whenever there's characters just talking in the background, they're like, oh, wasn't he hot though? And it's like, oh, okay.
Okay, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that because I do have something to say about that.
Okay.
And then yeah, they both die.
Yeah, they're standing on a hill because the old guy's wandering around. He's crying and holding the dog, and the kid like wanders up and finds them. And then they don't just die. An alien spaceship runs them over.
Yep, crashes into them. And they're just obliterated. Nothing left.
And we get this back and forth. We get this dialogue from the 2 aliens presumably piloting the craft.
Yeah.
And they're like, is the ship damaged? No, but we killed 2 intelligence forms. Replace them.
Yeah. Sir, we only have the weapons units. I don't care. We don't have time.
He's literally just like, not my problem. I want to go home.
Uh-huh. And so then they replace the 2 people with these like robots that are built for war. And the last thing they say before they leave is, well, they have the power to destroy the planet.
Don't care, drive off.
Yep. And we never see the ship or the aliens either.
Nope, not at all.
I liked a lot.
Not remotely.
I liked that a lot, actually. It leaves little...
They're just there for plot reasons and then gone forevermore.
Exactly. It reminded me a lot of like the Black Sphere. I know you haven't seen it, but like the Black Sphere in Gantz, like, yeah, we see it, but like we have no idea what that thing is or like, you know, anything like that. I mean, like we learn more about it later, but there's still this like air of mystery to it. Whereas in this case, it's like the opposite, where we hear what these things are and like we, you know, get a little bit of an understanding and then they're gone. But like they're not needed. Like we don't need anymore. They're not relevant.
Yeah, not really.
Really to the... I mean, they are relevant to the plot only up to the extent that they gave them these bodies.
There was no legitimate necessity for them to be back, so it's fine,
exactly.
honestly.
Exactly, it's fine, and I'm just glad that we didn't see some like generic alien too. You know?
Yeah,
It's so much better.
They don't show it on screen. It's just like a voice wave while they're talking.
Yeah, it's so much better that way.
Yeah, that was a good strat. Real quick, I suppose it's also worth mentioning this show has some pretty heavy stylization. I made a note thinking that it was all this way, which it wasn't. I was wrong about that. But one thing they do a lot, and I think this is something they did in Gantz too a lot,
okay,
is even some of their 2D animation, or some of what looks like 2D animation, is a 3D rendered figure.
Yeah.
But still, like, given shading to look as a 2D animation.
Okay.
And then there's also just 3D that just is 3D.
So, with Gantz, they didn't really do that with the show.
They didn't?
No, with the movie, it's highly realistic CG, so it looks more like a person.
Okay, I've seen like 5 minutes of the movie, so yeah. I'm a little...
No, it's like the opposite way. But yeah, there's a lot of CG usage in the show.
Yeah, and although not a lot of it looks great per se, like it's not like astounding, sometimes it'll still feel out of place.
Yeah.
Overall, it still looks really good. This is not something you'll hear me say often because I'm a basic bitch when it comes to how my anime look. I liked the style of this show.
I am shocked. I gotta say, I'm so surprised. I never thought that you would like the style of the show, visually at least. Like,
no, I dig it. I really like how it came out.
Because that was like when it released, that was a big point of contention was the CG. Because anime fans, they're like, "Ew, gross CG, that's disgusting." But like when it's used right, that's like when it's necessary. Like it was necessary for this show. I think it would be unrealistic
for parts of it. Definitely,
I say it's unrealistic to draw the like robot bodies completely, like all the arms, like completely like in the weapon form, I guess, where it's like all pieced apart, like Drake from that one Sprite commercial. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I don't, but I'm curious now.
Oh man, I'm pretty sure it was Sprite. Yeah, Drake is like, he opens up the thing, he's in the booth, he opens up, and he's like, just stands like this, and his body just starts like coming apart, just like they do in Inuyashiki. It's so funny. It's an old commercial.
I'll have
to
see this after we're done recording, yeah.
I'll have to show you that. It's good. But like, it's
that's
unrealistic to draw every frame hand-drawn.
Like, and that's also part of why it's standing out is okay, because not all of the CG is this, but most of the CG is the alien tech.
Yeah.
Like whenever they're doing the robot stuff, that's CG. Yep. But most of the time when they're just being people, that is usually 2D.
And like, I think also the only CG, I think there's some CG used like on buildings and stuff too. But I'm pretty sure the only characters that ever have CG are Hiro and or Shishigami and Inuyashiki.
Yeah, the main two, the two people that died.
Yeah, the two people that died. Yeah. I think that's the only two that ever have CG as characters.
Yeah, I don't think they CG the others at all.
Yeah, which is I liked a lot. I know, but I do remember when the show was coming out, a lot of people didn't like that.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I find CG to be very hit or miss because there's times where it just doesn't bother me. Like we watched Overlord for the podcast, and it was like there was this bone dragon. I'm like, haha, dopey CG, but I like it. Yeah. And then there's other bits where you were like, ugh, bad CG, and I'm like, wait, I didn't even notice.
Well, like,
but then
there's parts.
On the other hand, one of my favorite shows, Zombieland Saga. Yeah. There's bits where that one goes 3D, and I physically cringe.
It's bad. Yeah, I don't like that one.
I love that show, but their 3D is so atrocious.
It's not good. It's not good. But like, in this one, like,
it has to do with how well it blends into the universe. Yeah,
exactly. But in this one, there is also parts where you're looking at it, it's like, that's not good. That does not look good. And there's specific, like, that happens. The only thing I can actually think of right now is think it's episode 9. The big battle. You know what I'm talking about. We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I think that's 10.
It might be 10. Yeah, it's 10. It's 10. But there's some like low poly stuff that shows up, and
and the OP is like all CG as well, but that's because it's robot parts.
Oh man, the OP is Kino, my guy.
The OP is pretty solid. I want to say one more thing about the art, and then we can gush about the OP.
Okay.
There's one other bit of the art that stood out to me. I understand it's pretty normal in animation to have like a very like art drawn background and then the animation on top of that. Does that make sense? I'm trying to fish for words that I don't know what I'm looking for.
So like you have a background, but then the characters you don't redraw the background every time.
Yeah. Because like old Disney matte painting stuff like that.
Yeah. Yep.
There were a few sequences in this where the scenes, the backgrounds, looked really, really detailed to the point that it stood out. The part that I noticed is the worst is when Hiro, Shishigami, the boy from the forest is named Hiro Shishigami. So if one of those two names, I think we're going to be using different names.
And Ichiro Inuyashiki is the old guy. I mean, I think
I never heard him called Ichiro that I remember, so he's going to be Inuyashiki. But
Inuyashiki for me.
in my brain, I have Hiro remembered as Hiro.
Okay, that's fair.
So, but Shishigami. There's a couple episodes where he's staying with like a girl from his class and her grandma.
Yeah.
And the shots of the apartment almost look like an oil painting with like little bits of animation in front of it. And so some of those points was a little bit jarring because like I'm admiring the ridiculous detail on the freaking microwave that's painted in the background.
Yeah.
While Shishigami wanders around, and I'm just like, okay, I like it, but it doesn't mesh quite right.
Okay, see, I didn't get that. I thought everything kind of fit where it went. I understand what you're saying, but
that is the only environment where it stood out to me was her apartment specifically.
And I think the reason that I didn't mind it is because like when you think about like the old cartoons, right, and like when they use like the matte paintings and stuff, like you can see, especially Hanna-Barbera does this a lot, but like when you can see the part that's gonna move before it moves.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. And I didn't see that here as much. I don't know. It was like everything that they were interacting with, it was like detailed enough that I believed it, so I didn't get drawn out of the immersion. But I can see where you're coming from though, for sure.
Yeah, and again, it was only that one environment where the characters and maybe like the table they were eating at, but it was mostly on wide shots, like when he's wandering in front of the counters or whatever, that it almost felt like a character walking in front of a painting.
Okay, yeah. I could see that, yeah.
But that is the only sequence that did that. Otherwise, it was fine. Mm-hmm. But I just remember becoming like very aware of it in that one particular instance.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about that OP.
That OP, dude.
Oh man, I remember you sent me a message. But as soon as you finish the OP, because it's the first thing you see on the first episode, is the OP, and you're like, man,
just right away.
It was something along the lines of like, man, what an OP! That was an OP. I feel like I just took acid or something, or like LSD or something.
I think I put how much LSD did I just take?
That's what it was. Yeah. Which like, I'm not sure if it's quite like an LSD thing, but there's some type of drug going on there to create that, and it's amazing. I love it. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it was the first message after. I might put this in the edit. I sent you a picture of Crock Tarts at 6 a.m.
Yep. And I did not respond to that. I saw that when you sent it, and I did not respond.
I hadn't gone to bed for the night. I was so tired. I'm just browsing, and I see Pop-Tarts, but they're Crocs, and I'm like, he needs this.
I didn't need this. I gotta say, I didn't need that.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and then you sent me the thing about the OP, and I think I saw that.
Yeah, like the next morning.
Yeah, saw that when I woke up, and yeah. It's so good though. Like the song choice with the visuals. The visuals are so inventive. It's like
the visuals are definitely very interesting, but kind of unsettling at points.
Yeah, it's great.
And I mean, that's the point.
Exactly. And like, because the whole thing, it's like, so like, from my understanding, the red and the blue balls are blue balls. The red and the blue balls are like one is Shishigami and one is Inuyashiki, and it's like their souls or whatever, or like their consciousness, whatever it is, and it's that like rolling around in the body as their body is being constructed. So it is like the sequence of when their body was constructed by the aliens, when their bodies, specifically.
Yeah, because they also had their like quote unquote soul, their like memories and stuff uploaded into the
which I like a lot, that, because, and I like how they bring it up of like, am I really this person?
Yeah,
like, because I like that question a lot. Like whenever people talk about like moving the consciousness to the, in the future for cyberpunk or whatever, like the cyberpunk futures and stuff, where you put your memories on a flash drive. Like, I don't know, I always like to think about like, are you still you, or is that a different thing? Like, is that another person with your memories, or like another being with your memories, or is that still you? Like when, like, are you, what you right now, would you die and the other thing live on, but like the other people around would never know? I don't know. It's something that I like to think about, but you never will know the answer.
Yeah, because I've seen that in other media before as well. I know this is a game you're not big on, but StarCraft 2 has something like that, actually. There's I guess very mild StarCraft spoilers. The Purifiers have like AI downloads of their greatest warriors, effectively, and they can be put in Purifier bodies, and they bring back one named Phoenix, and he's just like, by the end of it, he's just like, I am not Phoenix, I am myself, but know everything Phoenix knew. And it's interesting to see something grapple and come to a conclusion on that premise.
Mm-hmm. And like,
I have just used all of my intellectual capacity for the next week.
Yeah, and like both of these two characters do that throughout the whole series, I think. And they each come to different conclusions as well.
Absolutely.
It kind of comes to a head in episode 10, really. Episode 10 is a very pivotal episode for a lot of reasons.
It starts to become like seriously displayed in episode 2, enough to the point that I'm going to go ahead and mention it, basically.
Go for it, yeah.
Both of them realize that something's up. Hiro figures out like his abilities like a lot faster. He gains control of it a lot faster.
Yeah.
Whereas Inuyashiki has a lot more issue with it.
Yeah.
But basically, Inuyashiki starts to figure out that I can do all these things. I can save people that are in danger, and saving people, preserving life, makes me still feel human, makes me feel alive. Whereas Shishigami goes the other direction. Seeing someone struggle to survive, seeing someone die, makes me feel human, makes me feel alive. Yeah. And so they come to complete polar opposites for the same goal.
Mm-hmm. Which is to feel human again.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise they don't feel human, which, makes sense. I mean, if I woke up tomorrow in a robot body, I probably wouldn't feel human either.
You woke up tomorrow in a robot body. Whatever. Put on One Piece.
Yeah, I gotta catch up, dude. Yeah.
I no longer have to sleep. I can get there faster.
Can watch every Ultraman all the time. Let's go, dude.
Jeez.
But yeah, no, it's a lot to think about, and also, I don't know, like they come to it. I think they come to the realization in different ways. Also, I don't think we really see Inuyashiki, like how he came to, or not Inuyashiki, Shishigami, how he came to it, the realization. But like,
we don't.
Inuyashiki is just like, he wakes up and he's like, man, I'm really thirsty. And like the next morning he's like drinking a lot, and then he finishes off like every drink in the house, I guess. He's still thirsty. So he starts drinking out of the faucet, and everybody's like, what are you doing? He's like, nothing. I don't know. And he still has no idea that anything's wrong. He just thinks he's thirsty. Until he goes to the doctor, and his x-ray is just pure white. Like it's just a solid mass.
Well, actually, I think before that, he comes apart, I'm pretty sure, because there was a bit with the soup when he's in his room and his like arm opens up and all the soup flies out. I think that was before the doctor's office.
Did that happen before the doctor's office?
I think so. Let me check. I think it did.
Maybe it did.
Um,
That's possible. But he was thirsty.
yeah,
at least.
because that's
Okay, all that.
that's
though,
pretty soon on. It's episode 1.
Yeah, he was really thirsty though. Still, before he knew, he didn't like link anything like wrong with that. But like,
Yeah, because they like run on water basically.
and I love that they just run on water. It's like the most ridiculous thing, but also like it's another like parallel to humanity and how like humans can't live without water. You know, you can live without food for a decent amount of time, not forever, but like water is like a necessary part of life. And so it was a nice little nod there, I guess. If that's the way to put it. Not sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then like he starts realizing he has these powers again in episode 1 because he hears a bunch of like high schoolers that like, we're gonna go cockroach hunting.
Yeah.
And he like follows them because he can hear them. He can hear like whatever.
Yep.
And he follows them, and they start shooting fireworks at like a homeless guy who, in the previous scene, had just like pretty much just made the major steps to get life back on track, but the kids don't care.
So he had,
casual high school murder gangs.
Ex-wife, I think.
Something like that.
He'd called her and was like,
other.
"Hey, I got a job. I'm starting my job tomorrow. Like all this other good stuff." And he's like, "Can we try it again?" And then she like agrees. And then he's like so excited, like he's got his own place that he gets to move into the next day. And then these dumbass kids come over, just kind of fucking shit up. And then I don't know. I've seen that before though, like that whole thing where like teenagers go out just like beat homeless people. I've seen that in like other anime. I don't know if that's like a common thing in Japan.
Is that like a common problem? Because like, I made a note about that. Like it felt like the crime levels are really out there in this show, because like a little bit later there's like a group, I don't think they're even Yakuza, they're just a bunch of punks, like cut to the front of a taxi line and try to kill the guy when they call him out on it.
No, I think they were part of Yakuza. The way they were dressed.
Were they Yakuza?
They were dressed nicer.
I mean, they did. They had like the sharp outfits, but I suppose
I think they were Yakuza because like the next thing that happens is directly involved with Yakuza. So I think they were involved, like lower level punks in the rankings or whatever they call them. I don't know.
That's possible.
But like, yeah, it's so weird because like Japan has some of like the lowest crime rate in the world, but then like they have these like
so chill.
but they also have these like really like just the weirdest crimes too, because like I know like at least this was true at least a couple years ago, I know, but like when I went to go visit, I like looked up some stuff like for safety, like you want to see like how what you need to do to stay safe and stuff, and people are like, yeah, you can just leave your car running in the parking lot of a grocery store for like 15 minutes, come back and it'll still be there, which is like not the case in like half of the United States.
I would say more than half. I would never do that.
I was just giving a small estimate, but yeah, no, I would never do that either. But like, yeah, it's so weird because like I know that
this is an unverified claim.
Okay.
This is an unverified claim, but what I was told by a friend of mine who has family in Japan, what he told me was that one of the most common crimes by a significant margin is umbrella theft. That's what I've been told.
I can believe that, honestly. Because you can just leave your umbrella at the front of the store.
Yeah, and there's like really heavy rainy seasons.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I've seen, but yeah. So get back to Inuyashiki though. I've seen the whole like, the shtick of, like kids beating up a homeless person, like an older person, before. I don't remember where. It might have. I don't think it happened in Gantz. I don't know. I know I've seen that before though, and it's super weird. I don't know. It's not something that like really happens, or like that you hear about, at least in the States, I guess. I'm sure it probably happens.
Oh, it almost certainly does.
But like it's not something like they put into like our shows and stuff. So I don't know, I thought that was like an interesting detail. And then when Inuyashiki comes over and is like, no, you're gonna leave him alone. And then
they're just like,
beat the shit out of him. They're like, okay, old man. Oh my god.
He just kind of freaks out. He fights in the early episodes. He fights by taking the hits and then eventually swinging back, and he just has enough power that blindly flailing works.
God, when he fights against those like the lower rank Yakuza, like in the taxi thing, when he his first stance, he goes, and oh my god,
it was so funny.
The worst fighting stance I've ever seen in my life, but it's so good.
I mean, he had to get the hands in between his face and the guy because the dude's like 3 foot taller than him.
I mean, but still, like, I think he had his hands out or something too. It was bad. It was so.
Oh yeah,
bad.
no, he very clearly has no fight experience or training.
Yeah. I mean, like, not like I have any fight experience, but I did take like 2 years of Taekwondo in middle school or elementary school, maybe.
And that's more experience than I have.
So, like, I at least know how to throw a punch and a kick, but like, oh man, he does not.
Nah, there ain't no kung fu master here.
No, it's great. It's great. I love it too, and it shows his innocence too.
Yeah,
I think
he's a good dude. Inuyashiki is a good egg, and I love him.
He's very pure, and yeah, I don't know. It's so the whole dichotomy of the two, because like with Shishigami, right? One of the things that so he has a friend named Ando.
Yeah,
and Ando's pretty important to the story, but Ando, he tells Ando all this stuff. Shishigami does, like, that he's a robot now, and that he can, because Ando had been bullied at school. I think this is episode 2, I believe.
I think so. Yeah.
And Ando had been bullied at school, bullied so much that he wasn't going to school anymore. So he was staying at home, but him and Shishigami were childhood friends. And so Shishigami's like, all right, well, I'm going to help you out. And goes to his house to read manga, just like they always did. They would read, the Weekly Jump, which is great. Good choice,
I mean, so there's a lot of references here, and I'm very glad that you told me this was the same guy as Gantz, because his room is just covered in Gantz posters. He name drops it.
Because, like, it's so funny, because he's got a character in here who is, like, the biggest Gantz fanboy I've ever seen, which is Ando. But then Shishigami's like, oh, you like that shitty manga? Because at first when you see all these Gantz posters on the wall, you're like, oh yeah, okay, I get it, haha, same guy, whatever.
We see what you're doing.
Great, yeah. And then I didn't remember that he name dropped it, or that Ando or either of them name dropped it, and we did. And Ando's like, yeah, no, it's I love, or Shikami says something like, you love Gantz or something, and then I was like, okay, that's a little, all right, buddy, you just cool your jets. But then when Shishigami says, you like that shitty manga, I was like, no, you get a pass. That's fine. You just shit talked yourself. That's great.
Yeah, cause, I mean, they name drop other shows as well. There's a later sequence that we've already talked to that mentions both One Piece and Attack on Titan by name.
Yep. There's another one too. Oh god, I can't remember what it is.
I don't remember what it was though.
I remember it specific. Man, I should have written that one down. I didn't write that one down though. But yeah, no, they mention like specific ones though, which I always like.
Yeah,
I like.
It's like very clear that this is current world, real Earth.
And also, speaking of One Piece, the Inuyashikis. Yeah. This is probably the last we're going to talk about. Well, we're going to talk about that scene. But the Inuyashiki,
briefly.
Inuyashiki Ichiro, he finally buys a house because he hates loans. So he buys land and builds a house, and it's right behind Oda's house, who is a famous mangaka. Man, I wonder who they could be talking about there. It definitely couldn't be Eiichiro Oda, the author of One Piece. No, definitely not.
I wouldn't have caught that.
It has to be.
I didn't realize they were like referencing a person. Yeah,
Eiichiro Oda is the author of One Piece, and since One Piece shows up later, I mean, I'm almost 100% certain it is. It's obviously not like exactly him.
Yeah,
like that's why his name. That's why his name is Oda. It's not even like a like trying to be Eiichiro Oda. It's more just like, oh, look at this little Easter egg here, and
it's also not the only real character that appears.
That's true. there is another one that's even more real, which
Oh boy, we'll get there.
I remember watching that live. That was wild.
I found out about it early. I was spoiled it by a friend because I linked him the Inuyashiki anime list page, and he was just like, "Wait a second."
Nice. Oh,
so when I was like 4 episodes away still.
damn.
Either way, we talked about the Gantz fanboy. We get like a whole episode where Shishigami shows Ando his abilities, and he's just like, check this out, I can get money. Or actually no, it starts off with something harmless. He just like opens the back of his head or something, and Ando's like, wow, a magic trick, nice. And he's like, oh, but I'll escalate. Steals money from a bank, and he's like, okay, I'm not really cool with that, but okay. And he's like, all right, but what about this?
And then
kills like 7 people in a street.
No, wait, no, isn't next, doesn't he do the whole like orchestration of the cars?
Well, that's what I meant, was he causes this like super busy interstate,
and he's doing it
not
with like
interstate.
these like, yeah, it's a crossing, but like he's doing it with these like big arm motions, like he's orchestrating a concert and stuff. Oh man, it's great. It's so good.
Ando's kind of very clearly not vibing with this.
Yeah, and like it's clear that like Shishigami doesn't really have morals.
Yeah, no, because I mean, this is something we get a little bit of sight on this later. We get like a flashback where he was talking, and basically he was like, why would I be sad if someone I don't personally know dies? It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't affect me.
But to that
and I'm just kind of like,
I don't know. Okay, but I understand the context of that, right? Like, but to that same hat, when you see that somebody has died on the news, it's like, it doesn't, I don't know. I don't really ever like, feel much.
I mean, I get what you're saying. It's not going to like personally resonate with you, like as if you lost a friend,
right.
But like, there's still like inherent value in that. Whereas this guy's just like,
Yeah, man, I don't want to sound like a psychotic serial killer right now. But like, I don't know. It's definitely like a thing that's written intentionally like that, because it's like, when you just hear somebody's name has died on the news, like, it doesn't really, you don't take a second thought about it, generally. There's some cases, obviously some cases are different than others. I'm going to say that now before we get any comments about it. Like, some cases are different than others, but like, just like a general, like, death, or like the obituary or something, if you just see somebody's name there.
Yeah. And that's why there's a little bit of extra discourse on it in the show, where they're just like, yeah, I suppose that's normal. You wouldn't, like, necessarily have that same severity with it. But then it's pretty clear that Hiro has taken that, like, a step further.
Yeah.
He's gone to the point of complete and total disregard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, he's definitely passed through, because he is actively killing the people. He is...
A significant number of them, in fact.
Yeah.
He's got like a body count of like 300 or 400 by the end of it.
By the end of the show?
Yeah.
He has more than that. Way more than that.
I'd call my estimate around 300 to 400.
We'll discuss it after, because there is there's some argument to be had about the number. But
there's a lot.
But like, yeah, in episode 2.
I did not write any notes about this scene because I just wanted to go past it.
It's a very like dark scene. I forgot how dark it was, honestly.
Which is part of why I couldn't vibe with it. Like, I'm not saying there's anything bad with a dark show.
Not even that scene. Not even like the whole segment. Like the whole thing.
Yeah, because there's a whole lot of lead up to it that makes it even worse.
Because he walks into this house, and like initially you're because I don't think he's actually killed anybody yet. In the car scene,
not
he
on
only
camera.
Crashed cars. There was not any dead bodies.
Not on camera. He hasn't done anything directly for the viewers.
So we're not like, we don't know he's killed anybody. We just know he's like causing mayhem. So he walks into this house, and you're like, okay, he got home, because we haven't seen his house yet. So you're like, okay, he's going home. And he walks in the kitchen, and there's a mom cooking a meal, and she's like, oh, you're home. Turns around and like horrified, because there's just not her son.
Not at all.
And then he just points to the camera, or points to her, just finger gun. He just goes, bang, and there's a bullet. I believe it goes through her chest here. And blood sprays everywhere, obviously. But she collapses to the floor, and then then he does it like 2 or 3 more times while she's on the floor.
Yeah, he goes through like the full family in there.
Yeah, well, he does that to her, but then he goes to the bath, where this father and this like little boy are taking a bath.
This was too much for me.
Okay, I'll go over this quickly, but it is important. It's very important to his character. So like the father and son are taking a bath, and then the father like obviously terrified because there's a man in there. There's like a teenage boy in their bathroom. It's like, and then the kid's like threatening to kill him or whatever. And so then the dad like turns around to protect his son, you know, like a good dad, like a good dad would, you know. He's putting himself in front of his son, and then he tells him that he killed the mother, and then he shoots him in the shoulder. The dad takes it. And then he shoots him. I believe it's through the head. I believe. Mm-hmm. And then the dad falls over on top. And the dad the whole time is like, please spare my son. Which technically he does.
Well, I mean, no. He straight up flat told the guy, no, I won't.
I know. He said no. But also, it's like he didn't... I don't know. Because the dad falls on top of the kid and it drowns the kid. The kid's like 6 or like 8 or something. He's pretty young. But like in a way, he spared, you know, like Shishigami spared the dad's son. But like,
you know, I'm not gonna vibe with that.
I don't vibe with it. I don't vibe with it. I'm saying like thematically, right? Like he didn't directly kill the kid. Because
either way, the only thing about the thing that bothers me about this scene is how did the forensics not find Shishigami? Because after the first one, he turns the oven off with his hand, like his actual hand.
What do you mean?
Like that would leave fingerprints, because like I'm assuming they'd still have fingerprints. Like I'm guessing they would, because it's supposed to be like a full replica.
I mean, maybe, but like,
and that is an external thing.
I don't know if they would be like fully. I don't know how deep they would go into like a forensic case like this. I don't know, like with a first killing, like I don't know if it's like TV where they always try to get everything, because there's so many cold cases, you know.
Well, I mean, this also wasn't the first one though. I'm pretty sure we hear like news reports later that like it is continued. I thought they said
this was his first one. This was his first one.
I'm
pretty
confident because this was not his first one. It's the first one on camera.
No, this is his first one. I'm almost 100% positive this is his first one, which is why it's shown. And like, because, I mean, he didn't kill anybody else before. We see him later on in the show walking into a random house, and then there's people screaming, then there's silence. Like, it happens after this, I'm almost positive.
Well, no, but they already had conversation where they're like, there's a killer going around. When he visits Ando, he's like, hey, there's a killer that's been going around the area. Did you hear about that?
Did that happen before or after, though?
No, that was the first time he went to Ando's house before this.
Was that before this bit? I can't remember.
Yeah, because this bit was at the very end of the episode. Because the episode ends when the grandpa shows up. Right. Or when Inuyashiki shows up.
I was almost 100%. Oh, well, whatever. It's not like it really matters if it's his first or not. But, like, yeah, so, I don't know. But, like, it's almost like he didn't directly kill the kid, but he still did. It's weird. I don't know. A lot can go into it. Clearly, you don't want to. That's fine. We'll continue. And then we get to the One Piece bit. The scene that I showed you. And the daughter comes home. And finds her mom, obviously, and then Shishigami starts talking to her like, "Hey, do you read manga?" And she's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "What do you read? What do you read?" And she's like, "One Piece, Attack on Titan." He's like, "One Piece, dude, me too. I love One Piece. Like, what's your favorite character?" And it's very, very much like a psychological torture thing. And
yeah, which is not gonna convince me to watch a show.
Well, I wasn't trying to convince you that this guy was the main character or like the protagonist.
Oh no, I didn't assume he was. I think
it's very good writing for a villain. It it gives him personality while also like showing that he is evil and irredeemable.
I mean, I guess, yeah, it does serve that purpose. But as for an introduction to, hey, this is the show we're watching, watch this bit. It's not exactly going to get me on the hype train.
I don't know.
If you'd have showed me either of them turning into a robot the first time, I would have been in. If you'd have, showed me,
spoil that.
If you'd have showed me freaking Inuyashiki getting shunned by his family, I probably would have been more interested with that.
I don't know. That's so boring. Oh, man.
I know. That's the point.
This is such a... I love this scene. I love this whole bit.
I hate this scene so much.
Because it's like disturbing as all hell.
I can acknowledge that it serves its purpose. It does its job very effectively. I hate that scene, and I wish I had been introduced to the show with anything else.
Well, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. If I was shown a character, like if I was shown that scene without watching the show, I would definitely watch the show, which is why I showed it to you.
I would not have continued to watch the show if we were not watching it for the podcast, which would have been a mistake.
Yes, very much would have been.
It would have been a mistake, but had I just seen that clip on my own, I would not have followed through.
I think that kind of like, I don't know, kind of shows the, I guess, not importance, but like kind of shows that like it's, I guess, important. Like it does matter like what clip you show somebody, I guess, if they're gonna continue watching something you like or not. Because like that is legitimately one of my favorite parts in the beginning of the show, is that whole sequence because of how like disturbing it is. But I like that kind of media. I like the really like fucked up characters and stuff.
See, I don't.
So yeah,
I can acknowledge when it's well done, but that's not the kind of thing that's going to hook me. And I mean, I don't know if you particularly knew that, so that's fair.
I didn't know that. No.
You just showed me a clip that you really liked, that you thought was a good reference for the show, and that's fair.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, no. I mean,
like, I've probably turned people away from shows I like by showing off favorite clips.
Probably.
Yeah. Dude, I show people the stupidest clip from JoJo's when I try to get them to watch it.
What clip do you show from JoJo's?
The grenade scarf from part 2.
Oh my god. That's the one? God.
Yeah, because it's so ridiculously over the top. It's a good stance for what the show is going to be like.
I guess? I don't know. Oh man. All right. Well. Yeah, but like, eventually, skip forward a little bit. Yeah, he kills her as well. And then
Shishigami or Ishigami. Inuyashiki. There we go. By golly, I'm not having a good time right now. Inuyashiki like heard their dialogue and is like, I'm on the way. But he's just like driving his car because he hasn't figured out how to fly yet.
Yep.
Spoilers, they can both fly.
Yeah.
But Inuyashiki doesn't have the hang of that yet, so he just takes the car and gets stuck behind a bus. Doesn't even know that's possible. Yeah, I don't think he knows that's a thing yet because he sees Shishigami fly at the end of this like sequence, which ends in the next episode.
I don't think he is his back is opened up yet either. I'm pretty sure it's just his arms.
I think it is just his arm and his head at this point have done that.
Yeah, his head.
So he knows he has the gun arm.
Yeah.
But he gets stuck behind a bus. He doesn't make it in time. He hears her die. But then he goes to investigate and like walks in the door and Shishigami is still in there and is like, oh geez, there's a grandpa too. I have to do so much work. Does the finger gun thing, and Inuyashiki falls to the ground and the episode ends as Shishigami walks away.
Well, no. So Shishigami walks out, and then,
I couldn't remember if this next shot was in the first episode, was in that episode or not.
It's in the very end, yeah. Because Inuyashiki walks out the door, and Shishigami's like, "What are you?" And then
it ends. Yeah, that is so badass. I love Inuyashiki, the character. I love him. And seeing him just get up and wander out back with that look on his face, like, dude, this is good.
It's great. Man, I have so many mixed feelings about the character Inuyashiki. It's so weird. I don't know, like, because he sweats so much.
That's the problem you have with
Well,
him?
like that kind of just ties in with the rest of his like character design in the anime.
He's an old man. He looks old. He looks very old.
I know. It's just like something about his chin.
He looks
Just
like such a
doesn't-
friendly old man.
It just doesn't vibe with me. I don't know, the weird patch on his chin. It just doesn't look natural at all.
That does look a little odd. I'll grant you that. And then he has like crazy big gels. He has gels like my pastor had.
Yeah, yeah. But like his art, at least on the cover of like one of the volumes of the manga, great. Absolutely love it. Love it. It's his character image on AniList also. Love that.
I was about to ask if that's what it was.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I like.
love
Oh,
that.
hot take. I like his anime design more.
Really?
This is good. I like the anime design.
Okay. Well,
The chin spot is weird. I will grant you that. I did think that a few times.
I mean, you're entitled to your opinion, but I don't know. I love. I generally I do love the character designs of Oh my god, I can't remember his name. The guy who made this show initially, the mangaka who did this in Gantz. I love those designs. They're like right there in the same. And this is the only time I'll bring it up in the episode. Okay, they're in the same vein as Death Note. They're very similar designs, right? Because they're like semi-realistic, but they're still clearly like cartoonish. And like
Yeah, and I mean, you can
especially Shishigami and Light Yagami are very similar.
The
And
light Shishigami.
And I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and I mean that's not all the similarities between this. It does delve into that like. Okay. You know, I was about to say something kind of dumb. I was going to say it delves into the what is right and wrong. It's like, no, it doesn't go into the right or
No,
wrong.
it has
in
a
this
clear
show.
definition of right and wrong.
This
for
show has a
sure.
clear definition, whereas Death Note has more of the
Death Note is
where
not.
does it
It's like-
stop?
Exactly. But like it still has those like
But it
similar theme. It has it
has the like
if,
very clear like opposition.
right. And it's almost
between
like
the two
if,
characters.
if you'd had Death Note and like each character, like you had two characters that had a Death Note, but each had opposing viewpoints, right? So like if L got the Death Note as well as Light, and so then they're battling with Death Notes, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it has that kind of vibe to it. Very, I think that's about where the similarities in them, because I don't want to sound like the guy that compares everything
Yeah, no.
to Death
When
Note.
when I brought that up, I got a bit ahead of myself.
Yeah. But still, it's definitely got some similarities there to Death Note, I think. And I love it for it. I mean, personally, you know me, love Death Note. The whole thing. The entirety of the story. Not just the
So
part.
we get in episode 3 we get like more similarities. Like they both start to develop their powers to a degree, but they find it through different means. Like Shishigami has already figured out that he can heal people because he's hanging out with Ando, and Ando gets a paper cut, and Shishigami's like, "Hey, let me fix that," and fixes it.
Yep.
Whereas Inuyashiki a little bit later finds out the same way when he like walks by a couple of cats. The cat gets hit by a car, and he like kneels down to pray over it, and it heals the cat.
Yeah.
Because this man's like devout.
Yeah. I don't know if I think it's more of just like the Japanese culture rather than
Very possibly.
because it seems more like he's just praying to a god, not like a specific
That's fair.
one.
Well,
It's
I mean, when I said
so-
devout, I didn't necessarily mean like.
Well, I know. It just seems like I don't know if devout would be the right word. I think it seems more like he's just more like he's part of the older generation, so he still has that like even if it's not like a full belief. I think it is in this case, but like he has that like cultural thing in him. Whereas like today, it's not really like as much there. But like I do think that he is slightly like he has a belief system. I think.
Yeah.
At least. Yeah, and he does that, and he's got a lot of things like that too, where like, you know, you've got, like when he learns how to, or when he's trying to fly, you know, he can't figure it out.
This bit.
It's great because it's
This
another
is the
reference.
other name drop that I forgot.
Yep. It's the other one. This is not the other one I forgot. There's one other one, but like it shows its title or whatever. I don't know, but like in order to fly, he has to sing the Astro Boy theme song from the original anime.
Yeah, because previous to this,
amazing.
like, every time he's wanted to use an actual ability, he's had to, like, do something to, like, focus it, basically. Like, again, his healing is always, like, followed by him entreating Kami-sama for help or whatever. So he just starts, he's like, how do I fly? This kid can fly, sings the Astro Boy theme. He's garbage at it. He's a bad singer, and it's so adorable.
It's amazing. I love it so much.
It was so good.
It's like he's the perfect amount of bad to where it's like, yeah, he's bad, but it's like it's not like annoyingly bad. It's like the endearingly bad.
It's like just some old guy on freaking his granddaughter pointed the phone at him to sing a TikTok. That's what it is.
Exactly. I love it. I love it so much.
It's so good.
Yep.
And he's able to fly. This is when he goes to save the guy getting beat up because taxis. Saves a bunch of people from a fire afterwards, and this is when he comes to the full realization. He has this like breakdown moment. He's like, I've started saving people. I've been saving people. That makes me feel alive. He straight says it in this episode.
Yep, this is the one. Yeah, and he's also had a lot of help from Ando. Because Shishigami.
Not yet.
I thought it was at this point.
Ando and Shishigami don't start hanging out till episode 5, if my notes are correct. Because episode 4 is the whole Yakuza like story chain.
Oh, that's right. It is after the Yakuza thing.
It is after the Yakuza.
Yeah, the Yakuza thing is a lot. And I think we should talk about that after a quick little break. Here.
Okay. I was gonna finish the Yakuza bit, but
no,
it's got a fair point.
It's a lot. So yeah, I guess we'll be back here shortly.
Yeah, we'll return.
Welcome back to the second half of a Shadow Weeb episode 18, where we talk about Inuyashiki.
The best old
episode
man.
4.
Yeah, when the Yakuza happened,
4,
which is a trip.
Yeah, but before that, we of course gotta take our shot.
Yeah,
what is the show without a shot? I mean,
without several.
So. Oh yeah, you're not wrong. All right, Kanpai.
Kanpai.
Oh man, we should also say again, we always forget this at the beginning, but drink responsibly.
Mm-hmm.
We know our limits. We're not being dumb.
There's all I'm having for today.
Drink responsibly. Yeah,
I went for the raspberry one this time, so I didn't
shot.
Die.
This is my last shot, and then just got a can again. Arnold Palmer.
I'm just cruising on Sprite for the rest of the night.
I got a Diet Dr. Pepper on standby. It's on deck. So
Diet Dr. Pepper, that's a choice.
I love it so much.
I'm not a fan of diet sodas. Like they have what's it called, aspartame, that like really messes with me.
Yeah.
But Diet Dr. Pepper is a bit of an exception because my mom loved that stuff when I was little.
I love like Dr. Pepper is like my favorite soda. Dr. Pepper 10 is my choice soda. That thing is like, it's so good.
Was that the one with the like aggressive men only campaign?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was so
10
bad.
10 manly calories for real men.
That is the
low calorie soda for men. It was so dumb that I had to try it, and once I tried it, I was hooked. And then it's hard to find now. So I drink Diet Dr. Pepper, or I drink Diet Cheerwine, which is a banger, but also hard to find if you don't live in the South.
Cheerwine is really good.
Very Southeast.
I had
very Southeast.
I had Cheerwine for the first time when we visited Arkansas, and we found some there.
Yeah,
because the area I grew up in didn't have any. But I usually tend to go for citrus drinks. I'm not. Dr. Pepper's like
not as big
acceptable, but like if I'll go for
Dr. Pepper's a cherry,
a Sprite or a Fanta, those are more my jams.
Not as big on the citrus stuff. I do like the cherry sodas. My thing.
Yeah, well, I used to be
Dr.
really
Pepper,
big
Mr.
on
Pibb,
cherry
Cheerwine.
vanilla Coke.
That's all right. Yeah, not a big cola man.
Neither am I. That's specifically the cherry vanilla one.
It does drown out the cola taste, for sure. But all right, let's talk.
Yeah, what
about
happens to
some
the Yakuza?
Well, they kind of get fucked up, bro. No, there's this big guy. So if you ever played the Yakuza games, you know the Yakuza have tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this big guy, and he's in this hot spring, and he goes to the sauna, and he tells this guy to move.
Another Yakuza guy.
Yeah, another Yakuza guy, but clearly a lower ranked Yakuza guy. And the guy's like, what? No, I mean, I was sitting here, and the guy's like, no, you're going to move. But actually, now you're going to suck this dick, bro. And he makes him suck his dick.
Yeah, that happens.
Until
I
it
guess.
comes.
Because reason, and then it goes to credit. It goes to the OP.
Yep. And that is like a... I think that's a very quick way to show that guy's character. That he is just a dickhead for no reason. Because not no reason. Because he's like... He's full of him. He's drunk on power.
He's the big boss.
He's very high up in the Yakuza.
We get back from the OP, and it's a complete change of pace. It goes to a soup shop. Soup stand, food stand place.
Yep.
And there's like these two ladies are running it, and they talk about boys or whatever, and it's like, okay, and we find out that one of them,
the pretty girl.
Yeah, you take over. I'm failing to put words together.
The pretty girl has a boyfriend, and you know and the other girl's kind of like, oh, what, really? Is he like super hot or something? And she's like, oh, he's cool. And then he shows up at the stand like, hey, are you almost done? And she's like, yeah. And then we see a car pull up, and we see this motherfucking Yakuza dude. His face in the car, and then it like slowly zooms in from the car's point of view onto the girl, and we're like, and you know what's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh well, she's getting abducted. That's cool.
In this heavily crime-ridden.
This episode also, I think we should say this is the episode, I think, that has the most triggering content. I don't know. I don't like to use that word because it's been memed to death, but like, I don't know another word to say it, but like. There's a lot of...
I suppose this could probably do with a content warning.
Yeah, this is worthy of a content warning. I think it talks about like drug use, drug overdose, and drug and rape. There's a lot of violence. Yeah, it's just all around not a good time.
Yeah, no, it's almost like we're dealing with a major crime syndicate. You know,
yeah,
it might have something to do with it.
A fucking crazy one. Oh man.
Basically, I mean, I don't know how like in depth you're wanting to go on the like overarching story. Basically, what I was going to say about it is Inuyashiki basically catches wind of what's going on. I forget exactly how.
I think he hears it.
Yeah. Because she escapes on her own. And comes back to the guy, and they're like, I don't know how we're going to get out of this. And the Yakuza men come by to take her back, and Inuyashiki hears it, and like...
Well, first, before all this happened, this might have been at the very beginning of the episode. We see him, like, standing beside a bed, completely naked, with this naked girl on it. He's like, hey, she OD'd, and take her out. She's got, like, long black hair, face down, which is important for later on. And so they like carried the body away, to dispose of the body or whatever. But yeah, so then we see her face down on the same bed.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there when I saw it. I was like, oh no, they got her. She's dead. This was her at the beginning. That was because it's like the exact same like hair color and everything, you know, like hair length.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, she's dead. This is awful. Like, you know, obviously. But then she like wakes up before he comes back, which is, I was like, okay, so she's alive. That's good. And she grabs his katana, and my favorite line from this bit was, That's my katana. Give it back. The dude says. I was like, yeah, that's gonna work. Yeah, that's gonna work, buddy.
You could. I feel like you could hear that line, like the same exact line, but in like a drastically different context. Like some friggin', I'm a fat neckbeard. I can say this fat neckbeard mall ninja kid. Someone like runs off with his replica.
Hey man, that's my katana. Give it back. Yeah, it's so funny. And then, I mean, she does give it back to him eventually after slitting his wrist open.
But he lives because this man's a behemoth.
Yes. Well, also because she did it horizontally.
Yeah, and it wasn't like super.
It's not gonna make him bleed out. The way it would make him bleed out is she had done this way.
You know, I wouldn't.
You can censor that. If
But
you
like
want.
she's. None of it was like expertly done. It was just she's trying to get away and is like swinging the blade to try to get away from him.
Exactly.
Which,
like, clearly she doesn't know how to use a sword, and so she's just using something to defend herself. And he's this like 7-foot tall Goliath man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, just absolutely jacked. And the only place he doesn't have tattoos is where his tighty whities go.
Pretty much.
It's like a perfect outline.
But he's able to, or she's able to get away. Sorry, and she goes back to her fiance because they agreed to get married at the beginning of this episode.
Yes, yeah, they agreed to get married, and he's just like a generic kind of regular looking guy. But she just really likes him. Mm-hmm. So he's not rich or anything. So
yeah, and the Yakuza people chase her down to this guy's building, and they're like trying to talk the guy to intimidate the guy down. He's like, I'll get you money, I'll figure it out, I'll borrow from a loan shark. Inuyashiki shows up and is just like, hey, y'all suck, leave them be. And then just yeets on them,
beating the crap out of everybody just by like swinging, like not having a clue. He's just going at him.
This tiny ass grandpa man comes up behind 7-foot Goliath man, wraps his arms around the guy's waist, and just starts squeezing, saying he'll never forgive.
I thought he was going to snap his back.
I was waiting for the
snap.
Mm-hmm.
But instead,
the guy unloads a full clip onto the back of Inuyashiki's head,
which makes him pass out.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't die, doesn't injure him. He just passes out.
Yeah, because bullets can't harm the robot man.
Not in the slightest. He comes to the Yakuza man, and the girl are gone, and the guy is dead on the ground. He tries to heal him and is like, oh, I can't revive the dead. I'll do it the old-fashioned way, and CPRs him back.
Yep. And the guy does come back, and I think it was his ability that helped there. I don't think it was with him knowing, because that does come back later on in the show.
I think that was implied to just be regular old CPR, honestly.
Was it? Okay.
I think so.
That might have been. Because I don't think that he had been dead for very long. So like there's still the possibility or something.
Because there's a very specific like HUD overlay, for lack of a better word, that comes up whenever he uses the healing powers. And that doesn't happen for this guy.
But I will say, I've learned this recently. CPR is not meant to bring somebody back. It's meant to keep them alive until other help is there.
That's very fair. So you might have a point there.
So it is.
That's also not necessarily common knowledge per se. So.
No, it's not common knowledge for sure, but still, I'm not necessarily saying that means it's his ability. Saying more like that's an error in the story.
Yeah, potentially.
It goes a bit far, but like
it's completely forgivable, even if it is.
Exactly, it's not that big a deal, and so then Inuyashiki goes to the Yakuza house, Club Yakuza, to go get her back.
Yeah, big man's in like a meeting. Inuyashiki picks up the little man's phone and is just like, "How dare you do this? I'm coming for you."
Yeah, I know where you are.
In his freaking grandpa voice.
He doesn't say that though. Yep. And then so he goes to the Yakuza place and then starts beating on him, and then eventually he shows up into the main meeting room where they're all having like a dinner, and the big guy, I don't remember his name. Was his name Gordo? No, Samejima. Gordo is somebody else. Samejima
Goro is just someone
That's the
mentioned in
big Yakuza
passing.
man.
He's not an actual character.
That's right, yeah. So Samajima is like, oh, that's my guest. I'll go talk to him outside. So then they go out to this other room, and Samajima's like, how did you survive? I unloaded a full-ass clip into your head. And Inuyashi's like, well, you know, it's what it be, what it do.
Basically, and starts trying to yeet on the man until the rest of the Yakuza come around, and just, like, 5 men with SMGs come around the corner. And this is when we see the first...
And Samajima also unloads again.
Yeah.
Into his head.
And this is when we see the first instance of something that happens on several other occasions later. When things get, like, way out of control for one of the robot people, basically they will go, like, full AI and, like, automated defense systems take over, basically. So Inuyashiki starts floating through the sky. He opens up, starts floating through the sky, and starts shooting laser beams through all of them.
Yep. And, like, an eye opens up in the front of his head.
Yeah.
Which this does happen... Actually, this does happen once before.
Oh, wait, yeah, it happened with the fireworks kids.
Yep. Because that's how he was able to beat them. Because he didn't remember actually doing anything to him. And then the AI also shows us there that it can hack into anything. Because it takes a video and uploads it and then, like, sends it out through the kids' Twitter. And, like, that's how it gets spread around. And then the kids are arrested and whatnot. But here, it doesn't do that. It just shoots everybody.
It shoots their eyes out specifically.
Well, then, yeah, it shoots their eyes and on the back of their neck, which the purpose of that is to blind them so that they can never see their kids again, and to paralyze them so they can never touch their kids again, and they can't kill themselves. Which, there's a slight flaw there, because they could bite their tongue, and that would kill you.
Isn't that, like, crazy difficult to do, though, or something?
Probably, yes.
But still.
But still, it is... I feel like if you have the determination to kill yourself at that point...
Well, I would have said determination to be a freaking Yakuza.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Well, also that. But, like, still, I don't think that's that big of a deal. Because, like, they're not going to... I don't think
the point still stands.
He's doing that so... Exactly, the point still stands.
And this is...
They are meant to think about their actions.
Yeah.
Basically time out
and this
for
is,
the rest of their
like...
life.
Probably... This is, the cruelest thing that Inuyashiki does. Like...
Yes.
I mean, yeah, like, they're bad, but, like, you've pretty much condemned the entire room to a worse than death thing. So that's probably where some of my inklings of, like, where does the line get drawn start to come in? And, like, you don't really question at this point because it's a crime syndicate. Like, it's good they're shut down.
Yeah. And we were shown how evil they were at the beginning as well.
Significantly.
With Samajima. And then not only... like, everybody else... Like, they have, like, this meeting between just the top dogs, which is Samajima is one of them.
Yeah.
And they're like... and they call Samajima, like, a wild dog, right? But then they're all, like, laughing about it. So, like, clearly they're also bad people.
Oh, yeah, no, obviously. I'm not saying they're not.
Like... Yeah, exactly. I know. I'm not saying... I'm just explaining further, I guess.
No, I know. It's kind of intriguing to think on in that regard.
Yeah.
Grandpa basically shuts down the entire Yakuza cell. And at this point, next episode, Ando has, like, realized that Shishigami is not the same person. He's quote-unquote turned against him, I guess. They've previously had a conversation where he's like, look, if you're just killing people, you're straight up killing people. I don't want a part of this. But he puts 2 and 2 together. There's another person because he knows what Shishigami's been up to, but then there's also people being healed at hospitals, people being rescued from fires, and he's like, that could all...
The hospital thing hasn't happened yet.
The hospital? Okay.
No, nope. That happens because like at that point, Inuyashiki doesn't know he can heal people yet.
Well, no, he figured that out on episode 3 when he healed the cat. Remember?
Yeah, but he wasn't sure, like, to the extent that he could do anything.
I thought he tried it later in that episode.
Not on a person, I don't think.
Possibly. Either way.
I remember, but, like, he didn't go to hospitals until Ando went with him, because they went to the hospital, the room, the first time.
Oh, okay. The point being, I'm trying to keep going.
I just wanted to put some things in order there.
I had them in order until you messed with it.
Clearly you didn't.
But, like, Ando figures out there's a second person. He's like, so if Shishigami can hear things from, like, wherever, then this guy probably could too. And so he starts throwing this fit, like, help, I'm gonna die, I'm being murdered. And he's like, wow, I'm an idiot. Why'd I think that would work? And the doorbell rings.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, he's there.
Yep.
Have I mentioned
like,
that?
Oh, there's this weird old shirtless dude.
Have I mentioned that I love the old man?
Yeah. No, he's like, are you being robbed? And she's like, what?
He's just kind of like, he's like, are you guys okay?
Yeah. And then eventually, like Ando comes out and starts like, no, I got it, Mom. I got it. And start talking to this old man. And then they form a pretty good bond.
They form a pact.
I like their relationship. Yeah.
Because like Ando has gotten to the point where he's like, yeah, Hiro needs to be stopped, and I think Old Guy's the only one who's going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And so he starts helping him train. So he's like, hey, Old Guy, upload your phone into your brain. Shishigami did this, or like Shishigami flew to space. Why don't you try it? There's just like over several episodes. There's several like training sequences. I'm just going to bundle them all together here.
Yeah. So they go to a scrapyard one night. And so that Inuyashiki can try out his like gun, but like Inuyashiki doesn't understand that it's the finger gun, and he thinks it's the arm gun. So he like pulls out the whole laser thing
and obliterates the junkyard.
Yeah,
leaves a literal crater. Holy crap!
I mean, that's one way to get rid of the trash. Just turn it into nothing.
Inuyashiki looks at it and he's just kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
Oh, they're so good. Those two are wonderful together. I'm sorry. I love them.
They are. They're great. No, they're great. All right, so what happens? What's like the next big story?
Oh, they also flew by the ISS. That happens. And there's like an astronaut looking at Inuyashiki, and they're just like,
oh, yeah.
Bruh.
And he's like, oh, you should come down now.
The space hallucinations. What is the next big story bit? That's a good question.
Was it like the whole Mari thing? Like his daughter? Is that like the next big story?
No,
that's very late though.
There's like the whole chunk where Shishigami has to flee from living with his mother. Right. Okay. So like there's one time where he goes like he goes to like what, because we still haven't seen his actual house, right?
So he like goes home and like he's like, hey, and like, or like he opens the door, walks in, and his dad who like we know from before, because we know it's his dad, because he's like, hey, sorry I couldn't go on this fishing trip.
Yeah, which had been mentioned earlier.
Because his mom said, hey, your dad's gonna go on a fishing trip, which like, or taking you fishing or whatever. Which like at that point you're like, oh, okay, so like it's just like a regular. He's in a regular home. But then slowly we start to realize that like there's something's not quite right, because like when he walks in and like his two siblings are like, hey, did you buy us the new jump? And he's like, oh no, I forgot. It's like, okay, that's a little weird. At least I got that feeling.
That line didn't really bother me. I actually didn't pick up on any of this. I'll be completely honest.
Oh, did you not? Okay. That was a little weird. And then when they were watching the movie, I was like, and then like when it was specifically like his little brother's birthday, I was like, this is a weird time to first show his house. And like then the whole thing, it was like, and then
it's like the super rich boy house as well, by the way.
Yeah, it's a very nice house, and like they're watching this like kaiju movie on this like 100-inch TV or something like massive.
Takes up like half the wall.
Yep, and it's like this really like the way, I think it's the way for me, the way the camera was placed, because it was always like, I don't know, it was just done so well that it gave this like odd feeling, especially when they were watching that movie, and then it like just had only Shishigami was on screen, right?
Yeah, because it's like clearly focused on him.
Yeah, and then it cuts immediately. It just cuts to him walking out of the house and saying, and like they're like, all right, I don't remember exactly what they said. They said something like bye.
It was like glad you came by or something like that.
Yeah, I'm glad you came. We'll see you later, something like that. And you're like, okay, well, why is he leaving his house now? And then we see where he lives, like most of the time, which is with his mom. And you realize that his parents are divorced.
It's like this tiny, like, one-room studio apartment, basically.
Yeah. Yep. It's just like basically like a bachelor apartment, I would describe it as. You know, like that's where they're living. But like he seems happy, you know. It's not like I'm poor me. I live in this like small little place. No, like he seems fine, and like it's not like either of his parents are bad people either. You know, like they're both like good. It seems. I don't think that they split with each other because they hated each other or like they had some big fight. It seemed more like it was just they weren't compatible.
Yeah, I have no idea what the circumstance behind it is. They don't go into it at all.
This no, and this personally this hit really close to home for me. I will say, because I am in a similar situation, I guess, but I don't know. It's yeah. So this bit hit pretty close to home, but
see,
it was nice.
I got hit close by the next thing.
Yeah, then we got to see like you know his relationship with his family, I guess, and like how he's like close with his mom. He's not as close with his dad, kind of thing. But then I'll let you explain the next bit if you would like.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be brief. Again, I don't have much to say. This is very much in between content. It's set piece building, but like it's not plot importance per se. Kind of.
This next piece is, I would say.
Yeah. Basically, he comes home, he's talking to his mom, and he's like, yeah, I'm glad that we're still here, or whatever. And she's just like, well, kind of. I'm dying.
Yeah. Well, like, she says that, like, well, like, she acts like everything's fine, and then, like, they're, like, in asleep, or, like, they're in bed, and she's like, Shishigami, I need to tell you something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, clearly she'd been holding it in the whole time.
She is she's the second of, like, 3 people in this show that gets introduced with terminal cancer. Like, that's a trend in this show.
Yeah. There's a lot of people with cancer in this show. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she, like, breaks down. She falls asleep, and Shishigami's like, nah, I ain't letting that happen, and cures her, just straight cures her while she's asleep.
Yep. Because he knows he can do that.
And he goes like full defensive. He tries to like take over taking care of her. He starts smuggling money out of the banks using his hacker man abilities. Tries to move them to this super rich apartment. It's like $5K, $50K, something like that a month. Translated.
Something like really ridiculous. Yeah. I think it was $5K a month. $50K a month is a little ridiculous.
Both of them are pretty freaking ridiculous.
I know, but like,
but it's like up in this.
$50K is.
It's up in this like
at that point by a house.
Semi bougie freaking high-rise apartment.
Yeah. Yep. It was a lot of money, and he was like, well, I got a part-time job. It's fine. I'll take care of us. Don't worry. And then so we get that whole thing, and then one night, the day before they're about to move into their new place, the police raid their apartment.
Yeah, the like special ops. I freaking wrote Black Ops because a buddy of mine's been playing that like all the time.
Basically, I mean, it basically is. It's like the special operatives kind of deal. And like they were after him, like they knew, and like there had been a thing on the news the day before that they had found the kill, or like they knew who the killer was, and it was like this 40-year-old man, to throw the public off, or to throw the killer off, to think they had a different guy. Which I think is actually a tactic that the news probably uses a lot.
Possibly.
To get, them like off their defenses or whatever. And then his mom kind of learns that he's been killing people.
Yeah, because like in that previous discussion, she was like, I'd like to meet the parents of a man like that. They must have failed so badly.
And he was like, well, what would you do if I was the killer? And she was like, oh, don't be stupid. And he was like, well, but
what if?
Curious, And she's like, well, I'd probably kill myself with him.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
He ends up having to run away, which is in effect an admission of guilt. And we find out like the next episode or the one after this, she does exactly that.
Yes, she kills herself because she couldn't live with the guilt, and also she was getting harassed.
Oh, yeah, no, the internet goes berserk here. We have 2chan, not 4chan, 2chan.
Yes.
No similarities.
Well, oh, you don't know.
Wait, is 2chan an actual thing?
Yeah, that's the Japanese version.
Oh, I thought that was like a fake anime version.
That's a real.
Because I know about
that's
4, and there's an 8, I think, too.
Yeah, there's an 8chan, 4chan, but there's also a 2chan.
I went
100%.
I went to 4chan's website once and never again.
It's not that bad. People play it up to be this like evil place, but it's just anonymous people. I don't know. I mean, I don't visit it that often, but like.
Yeah, either way, I was
like
apparently
2chan,
wrong.
like,
I thought 2chan was just like an anime thing.
No, it is a real thing. But like, yeah. So the episode is called "The People of 2chan," and they're like harassing his entire family. So like his dad and his mom and like everybody related to him.
Mm-hmm. This bit does lead to one of the absolute coolest sequences, in my opinion.
What is that? What is that? I'm curious.
So basically, after he finds out his mom's gone, because he finds out he's like watching TV on his like space eyes or whatever while he's asleep, and it pops up as a news flash at the top of the screen. He goes to like an alleyway, logs into the 2chan boards, and like starts interacting with his hacker powers, and starts like hunting down all of the people who are active in that 2chan board. And the first one he does is like to be an example or whatever. He like hacks into the guy's computer feed, and it's like your average basement dwelling, "Mom, there's a guy on TV" kind of person.
It's a Redditor. Yeah. It's a Redditor.
Yeah. And Shishigami starts just like straight talking to him, and the guy thinks, wow, this is being like pre-recorded. It's weird. It's almost like he knows what I'm saying or something like that. Until he shoots the TV behind him, Shishigami does, because he can use his bullet shoot magic powers through the screen. And the guy's like,
don't question it.
Weird that the TV broke at the same time. This is bizarre.
Yeah. And that's when he gets shot in the leg.
Mm-hmm. And he's like, no, I lied. I'm just trolling. I didn't actually give away any information whatsoever. And Shishigami gets like really quiet for a second. And then pulls up the media report that he sent.
Yeah, well, pulls up the email that he sent to the media.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he doxed Shishigami.
Yep. And then the guy's like, oh, no, I'm sorry. And then like runs to hide.
Yeah, and he gets out of range out of view of the first TV. And he's like, aha, you cannot find me over here. And there's this cool visual where it gets really tense. There's no sound. Shishigami flashes to the other monitor, to the laptop on the table.
Yep. And shoots him.
So it reminds me, there's a really bad horror movie called Unfriended. Okay. Do you know what that is?
Oh, yeah.
It has the same energy as that, except actually done well. I like that.
I know exactly what you mean.
I like that idea in principle, and this show actually succeeds at it.
Yeah. No, it does it really well.
It's really unsettling in the good way.
Yes. Done very well. Oh, man. And it shows like the level that Shishigami's got to. Mm-hmm. In his ability with his abilities,
because he's figured out all of this so much faster than
and just by himself too, where Ando has had to help Inuyashiki.
And half the things Ando tells Inuyashiki was, "I saw Hiro do this."
Exactly, so then we get this like montage of Shishigami killing 2chan people, and none of the 2chan people believe that he's actually going to kill him. So they're all like, "Oh, come suck my dick, dude." And then they're like, and then immediately just shot in the head.
Yeah. And
that's how the episode ends. That's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Is the whole montage of Shishigami killing 2chan users. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's wild. The beginning of the next episode mentions, my notes are kind of scrambled here. they mentioned that there's an asteroid, but it gets kind of like blazed over. Like the 2chan killings get covered up by the mention of this asteroid that's like twice the size of the one that killed the dinosaurs.
Yep. And it's going to destroy the Earth, and it's on direct course.
But then most people brush it off. They like directly say they're like, "Oh, the U.S. will take care of it."
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, we've heard that the U.S. is going to deal with it, so it's not our problem, so we're fine." And then eventually the news gets back to Shishigami.
Yeah.
Because it was like, because they'd forgotten about him for a little bit, or like somebody made a mention of like, "Oh wow, I guess the meteor destroying the Earth is the only thing to get Shishigami."
Oh, and this is another one of the name drops. It was a movie this time because they mention it. I think it's to Inuyashiki's kids. The mom does, and he's just like, "What is this? Deep Impact or something?"
Oh, yep, that's another one of them. Mm-hmm. There's so many name drops.
There's
references. It's great. I love it so much.
I skipped ahead a little bit by accident. We already talked a little bit about the bit where Hiro is hanging out with the girl and her grandma.
Oh yeah, we did skip over that whole part. Very important bit.
Yeah, these turn out to be the only people he cares for because like this girl's kind of like, I will be with you because I don't think you've done it. And then he's like, I did do it. And she's like, well, don't. And he says, okay.
Yep.
And so we have this, like, go ahead.
But when she first, because, like, she has a crush on him before any of the stuff comes out that he's the killer.
Back when it's still just people at school.
And, like, and she goes up to confess, and he's like, oh, you're pube head.
That's so mean. That's just out of nowhere.
It's so mean, but also like, what is that nickname? She just had curly hair.
They're in high school. Like, it's not gonna be clever.
I know, but like still, like it's still, like I don't know. Maybe it's because like a lot of Japanese have just like straight hair, where like over here we have a lot of different types of hair. I just never heard anybody like bully somebody because of their hair. I don't know. It's weird. It's like just pube head is it's so dumb. It's so dumb, but also you're right. It's exactly what a high schooler would bully somebody with. Teenagers are evil.
Yeah.
For no reason.
And he also completely blows her off too because she's like, I have feelings for you, and he's just like, cool, thanks, walks off.
Yep.
I felt that in my soul.
Yeah. And I think at that point too, he was still like with the in crowd.
Yeah.
Because him and Ando had stopped being friends at this point, so he was hanging out with like the popular kids.
Yeah, and he'd like beat up the bullies, I think, by this point as well.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, way before, yeah.
Yeah.
That was before him and Ando got or quit being friends, but like so he didn't want to be seen with somebody who was called pube head.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he just brushes her off or whatever. But then eventually, she's the only one who will take him in because she doesn't think he's done any of this stuff. It's all fake, and her grandma doesn't watch TV, so she doesn't know about it at all.
She just thinks he's some guy.
She just has to tell her grandma. Yeah, she's just like, "Hey, grandma, this person needs a place to stay, or something." What I imagined it was like his parents were. She told him, or like his parents were having a fight or something,
probably,
or he was having a fight with his parents. He needed a place to stay for the night or for a little bit, because her grandma was like, "Do you need to call your parents? Like, we can call your parents and like let them know, like where you are, or like to kind of talk it out." And he was like, "No, that's all right." At this point, his mom still hadn't committed suicide.
No, it was during this sequence. Yeah. I'm gonna just kind of keep us rolling here because we're falling really behind.
Go for it. Yeah. Yeah, we are.
Basically, the girl tells him to stop killing people and we'll be together forever or something like that. And he's like, all right, I'll do it. Let's start healing people instead. And so there's 2 people going around doing miracles. He heals a bunch of people with cancer. And she's like, This is great. And we start to think, wait, is there going to be like a turnaround for Shishigami?
Uh-huh.
And then the police raid that building too. And there's a fake out. I thought they killed her and the grandma. I thought the police did. Like at the start of the next episode.
They did.
Did they?
They fully did. Yes.
Oh.
he brought them back to life.
Wait, but they've already shown that we can't bring people back to life, or is that just...
No, we have... No. We've seen that they can bring people back to life. And we get shown that later on in the show, too.
Inuyashiki directly said he couldn't when he tried to heal the dead guy at the apartment.
But do you not remember at the end of, like, in the last episode, or maybe it was episode 10, like, with his daughter?
When he does CPR again?
She was... I don't know. They might have been on, like, the last breath because it was very quick.
It's possible.
But I think it was implied that they were going to die and he healed them.
Yeah.
Because they were shot to... Like, the police were basically treating it as, like, they're harboring a extremely dangerous criminal, and they started resisting. So they're like...
Yeah.
There's nothing... We have to do something. It's very complicated. Don't know if I agree with it. I'm not going to make any statements.
He escapes again. They're alive again... somehow reasons.
Yeah, he carries them out of the... Well, because he kills all the police.
Yeah, he does.
That invaded, and takes the bodies with him. And is able to heal them that way, I guess.
And then he also gets, like, full revenge and, like, completely demolishes the entire police station. Kills the whole district and the special forces, just all of them. Although they do nearly get him down. They trigger the, like, self-defense AI thing that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, but then because of that, the kill all humans mode, it it only and then it starts. He lands face up and it magically starts raining, so he's able to drink water. And power up.
And it brings him back.
The police are too scared to do anything, which fair,
completely understandable.
I will say, if a person, just like their body opened up and started shooting lasers, I wouldn't go near it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I wouldn't even stand in the area. I would be gone. I would be Audi 5000. That'd be me.
He goes off and does his own thing afterward, after like ending the police department, and basically he comes to this realization. Shishigami does, is like, okay, everyone in this country wants me dead now. I'm therefore an enemy of the country. Therefore, I must kill the entire country.
Yes.
So he intercepts a broadcast onto effectively the New York Times TV, New York Square. Sorry. It's in Shinjuku, but it's the same energy.
Shinjuku Square.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've seen the crossing, Shinjuku Crossing.
I've played Persona 5.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very busy place.
Yeah. So he hops up on that screen and then does his, like, through the screen thing and is like, aha, I have killed 100 of you. I will not stop until all of you are gone. Starting tomorrow, it'll be 1,000 people a day.
And we're going to have a quota. He was like, this is my quota for the day. That took me 30 minutes to kill 100 people.
I've got to fill this regimen, boss. Boss wants this much.
Yep. Yeah. Sorry, guys. It's the paperwork. You know how the paperwork is. Yeah, he goes through that whole thing. And then eventually, we get that. He stops for the day.
Mm.
And then the next day, they don't cancel school? What?
Obviously not, dude. You got to keep going. Gotta be there.
Even in America, we canceled school for the coronavirus.
For like a week.
We're dumb as hell. No, we didn't. Our whole last semester got canceled.
Okay, fair. I'm still salty with everything reopening at the beginning of the semester.
Well, I mean, I know that my little sister's high school closed back down to go to all online, which a lot of schools are doing. So but still, even over here, our dumbasses, like, why would they? Oh man, it's so dumb. But like, also, I can see it happening too.
That's
the worst part.
There ends up with like a full day of silence, and they're like, "Wow, it's weird that he hasn't done anything yet." And then we get
He said he was going to do 1,000.
Yeah, why hasn't it started? And Shishigami goes up to the top of a tower and is like, "Okay, it's time." And he starts doing the conductor arms thing he did, like with the
cars.
Yeah, and we get one of the most jarring images that is going to be burned into my head, which is it may have been at the beginning of the next episode, but it's a view of the Shinjuku city skyline with like 5 or 6 planes being pulled out of the air.
Oh yeah, I think that was at the end. That was at the end of that episode, because at the end of that episode we get like the very, or no, that was at the beginning of the next.
That was
episode.
the beginning of the next one.
Because at the end of that episode we see the one plane get pulled down and crashes into the city, and then it ends. That's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh no. But like also throughout this whole thing, throughout this episode, we'd been introduced this new character, which is not unusual for this show. It introduces a lot of new characters for like one beat storyline kind of things. Mm-hmm. And it's this Japanese woman who's getting on this plane to come home to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And from America, I presume.
Yeah, because she's sitting next to an American man.
Or at least somebody speaking English.
Yeah.
I mean, can assume it's America. It could be Canada, but whatever. Oh, well, it's someplace in the North American
English-speaking country.
Exactly. And we get this whole thing, and she's like, and she's sitting next to this guy with his baby. This baby's like screaming, and she's like, oh, well, here, I got this video. She pulls up a video of baby, make baby stop crying video.
Yeah, those were keywords.
Like, it looks like one of the like Finger Family videos. You know what I'm talking about?
I don't, but
like
I can guess what it is.
Videos. Yeah, it's like the really weird videos, but like, we get one of those, and the baby stops crying and everything. And so like we get this whole thing, like kind of gives us like a little bit of personal investment.
Yeah.
And then the next thing we see is this plane, which like could be the plane crashing into the ground into Tokyo.
Yeah.
And we're like, and I was at least like, because I forgot a lot of this show. I forgot most of the details and stuff. I was like, oh shit, they didn't just do that, which I'm sure was my initial reaction to.
Yeah, no.
And then the next episode, we get that scene that you were talking about with all these planes coming out of the sky.
That is a very impactful sequence, and that was a very powerful, in like a horrible, terrifying way. It was a very powerful visual.
And it's so well done.
That
because like we had it set up prior with the whole cars, with him orchestrating the cars, right? And like then we have this sequence where Inuyashiki is learning how to control a car. And like he drives his own car to where him and Ando are. That happens like way later, or right earlier in like one of the training sequences.
Yeah.
Things. But then like in this scene, he like I don't know about you, but I had completely forgotten that was a thing.
I'd vaguely forgotten.
And like, and then when he lifted his arms, he started just lifting his hands out of his pockets. I was like, okay, so he's gonna do the whole like
the camera and finger again, yeah,
bang, exactly. And then it was a plane falling out of the sky. I was like, oh no, this bitch crazy. Which it's man, it's so messed up.
Yeah, he ends up
a very impactful scene though.
Ando ends up telling Inuyashiki like, hey, you need to get in there, and he flies up, he grabs the plane. It turns out to be the plane that the lady was in, the lady and the man and the baby. Like flies under the plane and tries to Superman land it, and Ando's like, that's not going to be enough, you need to control all of them, you need to use the mind powers. And Inuyashiki's like, I can't do that, that's too much.
He's like, I can't concentrate.
And
so we see the one plane get skidded land on the water and skids into the ground, basically.
And we're like, okay, so he saved this one, but like there's so much more going on. And then it pans to an outer shot, and it's like this triangular formation of like 16 that he safely landed.
Yep. Which was the entire second wave, I believe.
That was...
Or like it was implied to be.
That is another powerful image in the opposite way. That is the same power.
Yep.
But tension releasing.
Yes.
Holy crap,
man, that was
dude.
So good. Yeah. And then that's when Shishigami gets pissed.
Yeah, and
he's pissed. He's like, who stopped my shit,
bro? You can't just interfere like that.
Bro, you're killing my KD, bro. Stop.
When Inuyashiki gets a phone call from his daughter, because his daughter and her friend were in like the top floor of the mall that the first plane crashed into the lower floors.
Yeah. Which I've been in that building. It's a very cool building. It's very tall. You take the elevator, go up like 100 fucking floors, and there's a restaurant like at the very top. I didn't go up to the restaurant because I'm terrified of heights, and the only way to get there There's 2 escalators, one up, one down, and you know what's underneath it? Fucking glass. And it goes in between, and it's like, I think it's situated between, you know those 2 spires that were up there? I think it's situated between those.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that.
No. Fuck no. But like, I remembered one of the things that, because I was with a tour guide that day, and one of the things she'd said was, this is like very strong glass. Like, you can't, it's like bulletproof, you know, you can't just break it. So it's safe. And that kind of comes back to bite them in the ass.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Because they end up trapped by a fire. That's why she calls.
Because we also see, I think it's at the end of the last episode too.
Yeah, a little bit before the trip to the mall.
But like, because it's during the first wave of planes. But like, one of the planes is coming directly towards that building.
Oh yeah. I thought you were referencing something else. Sorry.
No. One of the planes is coming directly towards that building.
Yeah.
And I mean, I couldn't remember what happened to her. And I thought that they had hit her, like where they were. They didn't. They had hit below.
Yeah. And she ends up calling.
So the elevators weren't working.
Inuyashiki, because she knows he can do something. He saw her.
Yes.
She saw him fly like the episode before. She had been following him. Because he's just like, why is my dad and Ando hanging out? And she goes through a couple of like fantasies about like, what could it be?
Yeah, it's great. My favorite one and also my least favorite one was when she was like, "Oh, I'm actually," or when in her imagination, Inuyashiki was like, I actually like younger guys," and I was like, "Whoa, that's too young."
Okay, buddy, calm down. Yeah, and there was also one where it's like, an illegitimate son? Like, no, he's never gonna be with another girl.
He can't do that.
He doesn't have that kind of smooth.
He doesn't have the balls.
There was another. I don't remember what the other one was. It's not important.
It was great. It was a great sequence. But yeah, so she knows. So she calls him to like be like, "Help, please help me."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Oh, I got it. Where are you at?" You know, and all that. And then Shishigami shows up. And the whole time, it adds so much stress. I was stressed watching this whole part. I don't know how you were.
Well, yeah, because I mean,
I was. Oh,
basically, Inuyasha is kind of like the standstill. He's like, "Look, I know you're dangerous. I need to stop you, but I do not have the time right now. Let me go to my daughter." And Shishigami won't let him. He starts the fight.
No. Yeah. And then eventually Inuyashi's like, I gotta go to her, and like leaves, and Shishigami like follows him because he's like, "You're the bastard who's been stopping all my plans." And Inuyashi's like, please let me see my daughter. Eventually.
Well, part of it is also because Hiro gets like super mad because they have a little bit of discussion, and basically Inuyashiki calls him out and is like, "You're doing this because it makes you feel alive, right?"
Yeah.
"I'm saving people because it makes me feel alive." And then Hiro takes that to mean like, "Oh, so you're just selfish like me. I'm not going to let you do that."
Well, then Hiro also comes to this like realization like, "Oh, so I'm the villain."
Yeah.
Of the story.
You're on like your 3rd murder spree. Of course you're the fucking villain.
I mean, like, I feel like what he was going through, I think he didn't think that there was another person like him. Even though like he had met Inuyashiki before, he thought it was just like, what, I must have messed up. I think that's what his thought process was.
Possibly.
But now realizing, and he thought that everybody was just like out to get him for living his, obviously like it's no justification, but like he's clearly like insane.
Yeah.
But still, like in his mind, he was still, as his name suggests, the hero.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Which I believe is why his name is Hiro. Whereas Ichi is one. And it's called the last hero. But like still, he's like the one hero.
Possibly.
I don't know.
I also
that's what I got from their names.
I also kind of wondered if Shishigami was supposed to be like, because that's like one hiragana away from Shinigami. I wondered if that was like a thing.
Maybe, possibly. I don't know.
I can't really speak to that, but I did notice that and was like, I wonder.
I don't know how his name was written, like what the kanji.
Oh wait, yeah, because kanji matters, doesn't it?
Yeah,
kanji are above my pay grade.
Yeah, way above. But yeah, so like he's like, "Oh, I'm the villain, I guess," and like he has this whole like tantrum.
Mm-hmm.
That's when he starts the fight.
Yeah.
Then Inuyashiki flies away
To get the break
like,
to escape. Inuyashiki uses the bang move. He shouts.
He does.
He shouts the bang.
He finally does, and then he also. Well, he does that, and he also does the whole.
Oh yeah. Because
too, he does that, and it was great. I loved seeing it because he had not used that once.
Yeah, no, because that's the other thing.
Showed his resolve to save people because he didn't want to use a weapon.
Yeah, because
which he was also never the one to use the lasers. It was always the
AI,
the AI,
the defense AI.
So it was never he never actually harmed anybody unless he was punching them.
Well, yeah.
But he never did anything with an intent to kill or maim or anything like that. So yeah, it was. Yeah. It was very clear that he was no, he was in desperate fight or flight situation.
But they end up both flying because he's running to get to his daughter. And basically, the fight escalates to the point where both of them kind of dunk on the other enough that both of them kick into full AI combat. So it's no longer Hiro versus Inuyashiki. It's robot machine versus robo machine. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Inuyashi's gets the upper hand because I forget the exact circumstances on it, but a satellite or something had started to fall really low.
So I think Shishigami had drawn in the satellite to try to distract Inuyashiki or whatever. But Inuyashiki was able to destroy it, and then
that interfered with Shishigami's targeting.
Exactly. And so then Inuyashiki was able to rip off the back of Shishigami's head and both his arms.
Mm-hmm. And he falls to the ground.
Destroyed him completely.
He being Hiro.
Yeah. And as does Inuyashiki. Inuyashiki also falls to the ground at this point. But then he lands in a river. So he's got water.
That would do it.
He's able to come back to consciousness, flies off to go save Mari. And this bit this
tense.
Almost killed me. This almost killed me. And I remembered it the first time almost killing me too. It hit the exact same. Because he goes up there and Mari is dead. She's dead. There's no life left. She's dead. And
because while he was flying there, she gives a phone call where it's very clear. She's okay, I'm done. This is the final call.
Yeah. Because she's please tell Mom that I love her. I love all of you guys. And then for the first time in the show, she acknowledges her dad fully. It's I love you, Dad. Because the whole show she'd kind of been going through the phase the teenagers do.
Yeah. Well, also an episode before, he had finally taken her side because she wants to write manga. That's a side plot. And then her mom's no, you can't do that. And then Inuyashiki's I don't see why not.
Yeah, he's well, as long as she graduates high school, I don't see the issue. Yeah, and so he goes after her and then does all his CPR stuff and eventually is able to resuscitate her.
There is so much emotion in this full sequence because Inuyashiki is old man is
crying his eyes out,
understandably so, and
yeah,
you feel his pain through the whole scene.
That you do.
It's brutal.
It's so well done. Very brutal, but very well done. And we get that whole sequence and eventually he's able to bring her back and then he's able to get everybody else, bring them back as well. First, obviously he grabs her friend, but he's able to bring everybody back. And that's why I think, I don't know, I feel I think you can bring people from the dead. Because they had been gone for a while.
Yeah.
And with her friend, he didn't have to do any CPR. He was just able to bring her back, which I don't know. But it doesn't really matter. I don't know. I don't really care that the rules aren't fully followed or whatever.
Yeah, no. The point being the emotional scene carries.
Exactly. Yeah, he's able to save everybody, and then he's okay, go home. The trains are running, and he knows it's safe because destroyed Shishigami.
Yeah.
And he's like, so take the trains home. I'll be back in the morning.
He spends the rest of the night pulling people out of all the buildings that were on fire.
Yeah. And like bringing them back, healing them. And everybody's like, oh, it's a god among us. He's come down.
Mm-hmm.
And then we cut to the next day, or the next episode, actually. You get to the next episode.
Well, it's at the end of the last episode. It's at the end of 10.
Is it?
It's at the very end of 10. Yeah, I have that written down.
Wait, the next part that I was going to say, or?
I mean, I'm assuming.
Because I was going to say the next day. Is that at the end of 10?
Yeah, when they...
Okay.
When those two ladies find Shishigami?
Oh, no, I wasn't going to... I forgot about that, actually. No, yeah, that is at the end of 10. Yeah, two girls find Shishigami, and they're like, oh, is Juice okay? Oh, like, because he asked for water.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
Oh, no.
Thanos is back. Not again.
Episode 11.
Episode 11 had a lot in it. And we got to go through it quick.
It had a lot, but there's only like 2 points that I think are really important to like actually say much about.
Well, one thing I thought was funny is because like all over the news was his face that he had done this. Mm-hmm. So his family finds out he's a robot. He tells them. But my favorite part was like he went to work the next day and nobody at work noticed.
Nobody catches on.
Nobody knew it was him because like he just has such a low profile. It was great.
It's like me. He has no presence.
Yeah, he has no presence at all. It's great.
There's
and like his whole family laughs about it. Like his whole family likes him, except his son is still like feeling weird.
Yeah, there's a really beautiful scene at the beginning of this when his family calls him out and is like, "Why didn't you tell us?" And he goes through that like super existential like, I don't know if I'm me. I replaced Inuyashiki. I'm not sure what I am anymore. And then his wife is like, what was our honeymoon? And he like goes into full exquisite detail about every single step of the journey.
And she wanted to go to the Museum of Sex.
Look, they were young.
So funny. No, I love the comedy that's thrown in. I do. It's like so offbeat. I love it.
But it's so heartfelt because then the wife and the daughter are both like, no, this is clearly you. You are you.
Yeah.
And
but his son is like,
it's beautiful because they bring him back from the brink of like,
he was going off. He was going to go away.
He was just giving up. He's like, I'm a robot. I'm not Inuyashiki. And they're like, no, you are. You're staying with us.
Yep.
And
then his son is still apprehensive. And then eventually he has this talk with his son about like, well, when I was your age, I was so weak and I didn't think it was good. But like now that I'm a robot, I understand that it's good to be weak. I didn't get that.
It's more like everything that has happened in my life prior to this built up to where I am now, and someday you'll have the same realization. I think that's more the theme of what it was.
Yeah, it was still weird for me to hear him say, I'm happy I was weak, or like I miss being weak or something. I was like, nah, dog, you always get stronger. Just take some creatine, bro.
Well, I mean, the kid was like, okay, I'm tired of getting picked on. I wish I were an immortal death robot. And Ishigami's basically like, no, you don't.
Yeah, no, he does. I get that part because I don't want to be immortal either. Being immortal sounds awful. But yeah, and then so that we get that whole thing. His son's like, okay, I accept you, you know. Kind of deal.
And for the final leg of the show, the final like half an episode, it comes back to the meteor that was established a couple episodes ago, and basically the US wasn't able to stop it. It's going to be inevitable. It's going to destroy the world. And we mentioned there was a really unexpected cameo here. This was in 2017, so it is technically this was during then. Trump hits the TV. It's on the news.
Yeah.
And basically, he was like, y'all can do what you want for the next 3 days. We weren't able to stop it. There's no rules because the world's going to end. The actual quote that he says was along the lines of, I've lived well with no regrets. The rest of you losers can do whatever the hell you want. That's what he says.
Yeah. Which I want to say, right? I think both of us we don't like Trump, but this is one of my favorite portrayals of Trump because I fucking hate the SNL Trump.
Oh,
so much.
I wouldn't even know what that is. I don't watch SNL.
It's so, well, I mean, like, the generic Trump, like, haha, oh, he talks funny. This didn't really make him talk funny. Like, I'm so glad. It's just like...
They didn't go in on the accent, they went in on the personality.
Exactly, which is what needs to happen. I don't give a fuck how he talks.
Because, like, honestly, I could see him saying something like that.
Exactly. It makes sense. It's the perfect president for this to have happened to, I think, for this show to have come out during.
Well, yeah, because, like, with him...
And it also sets it again. Oh, yeah,
you could see that break in leadership, whereas, like, other presidents, like... a more like, oh geez, I'm gonna make people upset. A more
even like with any other president,
someone who's better at leading, as like being a leading figure would be like, they probably wouldn't break character that quickly.
Right, exactly, and it's oh man.
I don't know.
I'm just so glad that this anime was made during this point.
I was messaging
like
a friend
president because
I completely cut you off. Yeah. I'm so sorry. Your audio cut out, so I didn't realize you were talking.
Oh, I was just saying that like, I'm glad that they were able to use like a real president, make it feel real, make it set. I don't know. It sets it. It like grounds it even more.
As if the constant pop culture references didn't.
Right, well, exactly, but like it's already like because of that, it's grounded in our reality with this like one small little twist that like changes everything. But like this even helps. I think it helps even like the American audience and like a world audience because it is like a world.
It's a very grounding element.
Exactly, which I'm very happy it wasn't just like John Smith,
Alexander W. Wood.
Exactly, yeah. So basically, there's this asteroid. Gonna hit Earth. Yeah. America can't do anything. Anarchy, and we see the anarchy we see it by these two streakers on the train.
Yeah, pretty natural, because like Inuyashiki and Ando, I think or maybe it was his son were on the bullet train. There's like no one else.
No, it's his son because he was going to work and his son was going to school. But then obviously there's no school because nobody gave a fuck. There's no work because nobody gave a fuck.
Yeah.
And then so then Inuyashiki's like, all right, well, I'm going to do everything I can to stop this asteroid. And
his family's like, no, don't do that. Die with us.
And Ando's like, no, please, like, you've done enough kind of thing. Like you have helped stop Shishigami.
Obviously, that's not going to get Inuyashiki to back down, though.
Exactly, because Inuyashiki's like, well, I think I've finally found what I was born to do.
Yeah. And so he, like, fills up on water.
Yep. And before this, though, I think it's before this, we see, like, Shishigami go to Ando's house.
Yeah. And he's just like, look, I just want to read manga with my friend.
Yeah. And it is definitely before this because Ando calls Inuyashiki over. And Shishigami's like, I wasn't going to kill you. Like, I just wanted to just read manga like the old days, like just read the new Jump. But then he leaves. And like it's a nice moment, I think.
Yeah.
It's like cuz it's showing character development of a villain without being like, "Oh yeah, no, he's now a good guy." He's still like nothing has excused his actions so far.
Yeah, because even still, Ando's just like, look, you still killed, like, a ton of people. And he's like, what's the matter?
Yeah. And Ando's like, no, I can't. I called Inuyashiki, and even, if you kill me now, Inuyashiki's gonna destroy you, so it doesn't matter. And that's when Shishigami's like, I didn't come here to kill you. And then he leaves, Inuyashiki gets there, whatever. And then we get to the night where Inuyashi's like, I'm gonna go destroy it. Fills up on water,
flies up to the asteroid, and tries to just like straight blow it up.
And his daughter does try to stop him first, and it's a pretty bit. I don't know. That hit me.
It was like, a good.
She would not have done that. She wouldn't have done that.
It was a very good emotional moment. I skimmed over it because I was trying to move. But that is fair. That is definitely a change from
like his dog, like
what she would have done at the beginning.
And his dog like breaks out of his room because his dog's like, nah, something's going on. You know, because dogs know stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. Dogs are, oh man, pets in general are like weird. Like they know things, you know. And then like his whole family's out there, like they know. He only said goodbye to Mari, but like they all know that he's not coming back. Even though Mari said like I'll be back in the morning or I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah. So he goes to the asteroid. He tries to straight blow it up. He can't get it. He's like, it's not working. I don't know what I can do to stop this. Yep. It's not happening. And he's on the phone with...
Uses up all his water.
Yeah, all he's done is put like a big hole in it. Not even all the way through. And...
No, not nearly. Just a crater, basically.
He's like, I can't stop it. I don't know what's going to happen. And he like turns around and partially destroyed Shishigami is there. And they try to talk for a second. This was a good detail. They try to talk, and then there's no sound. And he's like, wait. Calls the guy.
Yep. Uh-huh.
While they're like 2 feet apart.
Yeah.
That's a good detail. That's
because there's no sound in space.
That's a really good attention to detail.
It is. It is.
And he is basically like, yeah, you're not going to be able to stop it, but like I've done some calculations. The aliens said that we have the power to destroy the Earth. That's because we can self-destruct. And he's like, okay, I've run calculations. I've run the word simulations. If I blow myself up right here, it'll send the asteroid off course.
Yeah, just enough to miss Earth.
But he's like, you got rid of my arms. We have to push my eyes in to trigger it, so you're gonna have to. You got to hit the button, dude.
Yeah, but even then, this is such a good detail too for Shishigami's character, because Inuyashiki's like, "Why are you doing this?" And Shishigami's like, well, even I have people that I don't want to kill. And he mentions Choco, which is a nickname for Ando, and what was her name? Whatever,
the girl,
the Shion. He mentions those two, and it's like, and so then while Inuyashiki's still on the phone with Ando, it's like, hey, Shishigami's here, and he said he doesn't want the Earth. He's gonna blow up the asteroid because he doesn't want you to die. And then Ando has all these mixed emotions, obviously, because they were childhood friends and all that. But like, it still like it doesn't excuse Shishigami for all of his it's awful things, which is the best part.
It's not a full redemption arc. They're not trying to like spin it as him as a good guy now.
Yep, he's not a good guy anymore. He's still doing this for selfish reasons because he only wants a few people to live. Whereas like Inuyashiki's like, no, I want to save humanity. I'm sacrificing myself for humanity. Whereas Shishigami's motivation is, well, these people should live. But I loved that bit.
But basically, they activate the destruct, and there's like this huge explosion. It lights up the Earth sky, and Ando's like,
it's like it's like a second sun. Yeah.
Ando loses it. But then, Inuyashiki,
only half the asteroid's gone.
Yeah, half the asteroid's gone, but Inuyashiki runs the trajectory again, and it's still going to crash, and it's still big enough to be deadly. And he's like, okay, this didn't work. What if I used all my lasers at once? That's still not going to work.
No effect.
What if I blew myself up too? And it shows it going off trajectory.
Well, no, it shows it completely
or was it... Okay, either way.
Yeah, it would completely... Because Shishigami got half of it, Inuyashiki would get the other half.
And basically he realizes that's going to be the out. Yeah. And
oh man.
He doesn't talk to his family here, but Ando is like, that saved it, right? Yeah. And Inuyashiki's just like, yeah, no, it's off course. I'm gonna head home. I'll talk to you tomorrow, Ando.
He's like, come see me tomorrow.
Yeah. And then it cuts back to Earth, and Ando hangs up the phone, and the sky lights up again.
Yeah. Like, we do see Inuyashiki, like push his eyes in. But, yeah, the sky lights up. Ando immediately knows. Because, obviously. And he loses it. He's like, no, I can't. And, like, his family knows, too. Mm-hmm. Because there's two lights in the sky. They're like, oh, it has to be that. Oh, it's so...
It is... This show hits the
rough.
emotions. This show hits
It does.
hits you in the feels. That's just straight up what it does.
It does. Yeah. And then so after that we get like a little epilogue, I guess.
Yeah. Because it's just
where we
showing,
see
because we're seeing
Marty's-
everyone's reactions and the aftermath and stuff during the credits.
Yep. Like Marty, I think the most important thing here, I think, well, there's a couple. The son, Inuyashiki's son, he doesn't beat up the bullies, but he's able to stand up for himself and fight against them. So it's like he doesn't win per se, but it's kind of implied they stop taking his money.
But
I think the biggest one, at least for me, was Mari.
yeah, she had
winning. Yeah,
she had entered her comic into the Jump competition, and she's the one who got published. Yeah. So her dream is like
she won the competition, and yeah, we learned that by seeing Ando sees it in the Jump, because Ando's a big Jump fan, as we know, and so he's reading the new Jump and sees Mari Inuyashiki's name, and it's like, oh, at least, well, his legacy's like living on, kind of deal. It's great. Oh man, it's so good. I love it so much.
So
all right, well let's go through final thoughts.
Let's just go final thoughts, because we're like quick. Way over time. I keep sitting here and I'm like, all right, we need to move forward. And you're like, no, we are staying right here.
I had a lot I needed to talk about, bro. All right, you go first. Do your final thoughts.
Oh, jeez. I'm going to sound so... Oh, what's the word? What's the word that I hate so much?
Intellectual?
Intellectual but bad.
Smart.
Snobby, I guess.
Okay, yeah. Snobby. Gotcha. Yeah.
That's not the word I'm looking for, but I can't fucking remember. Vodka doesn't help.
Close enough.
I'm saying...
Speed run.
Okay, bud, you don't get to do that. This is not something I would normally ever say. The story of this show is good. I don't think it's anything astounding, per se. As for the, like, main storyline, the whole beats, good guy, bad guy fight, the emotion of it, and the art of it, the look, the sound, the style, and the emotion. This is not something that I would sit down and watch because I love the narrative. This is a show I would watch because it is beautifully done. I think that despite some I don't really know how to progress this statement. I got a lot more wrapped up into the aesthetic of this show than I did the story. The story was great. It was good. The characters were great. I've made it clear how much I absolutely adore Mr. Inuyashiki himself. He's the best boy.
Yeah.
But overall, I think this show is just an emotional and visual, more of an art piece than a show. In my opinion. That's the way, this is not coming through correctly.
I think I understand what you're saying.
I'm not good at words, and my current state of intoxication isn't helping. This show is beautiful.
I get what you mean. Yeah.
The story isn't outstanding, but the show is beautiful. And so I've struggled where in the good category to put it. And I think I'm going to tentatively set it at an 8 with a chance to rise to 9, but I need some more time to think about it for that.
Okay.
This show is excellently well done. It hits you in the feels in ways that I didn't expect possible. It has very powerful scenes, powerful emotion, powerful imagery. And I think that is its biggest strength by far.
Yeah.
That came out so weird. You take over.
Well, I think for me, I remember liking the show a lot. I also really like Gantz. I like the stories that this man tells. Again, I still don't know his name, but the author. I don't know. It's like the visuals weren't always there for me personally. I didn't mind it. Like it was. I like the general feel, if that makes sense. The general feel I love. I love the general feel. Same with Gantz. I love the general feel. But like, there's so much of this show that's kind of like, God, it's so weird. It's hard to describe.
I know,
right?
right?
I kind of feel like you right now. But no, I mean, like aesthetically, it's great. But like I do really like the story as well. I think not as much the story, more the characters, because it's able to set up these like this hero and this villain so well and so realistically. And like this is gonna sound dumb as hell, but like I could see something like this happening, right? If that makes sense, right?
I'm assuming minus
like
the alien
aliens,
robots.
No, I'm saying like if aliens crashed into Earth and gave two people this thing, like it feels like a real progression as to how these two characters went. Mm-hmm. It didn't feel like just some arbitrary like, oh yeah, no, this boy got bit by a spider, now he's gonna save everybody kind of thing, you know. I mean, I love Spider-Man, don't get me wrong, but like you know what I mean. Obviously I don't want to say that's arbitrary either. There's reasons. God. Anyways.
I don't think either of us are having a good time right now.
Anyways, I gave this show an 8 as well.
Okay.
You know, I'm a little more, I don't want to say more tough, but like my 8 is probably, I think it's around like your 9, I think. I don't know. But like, it's somewhere like a little lower than your 8. But still, gave it an 8. I like it a lot. It rose a point from the last time. It was a 7 before. Yeah, and honestly, it makes me want to both read the manga and watch Gantz again. And read Gantz and watch the movie. I don't know. I want to watch more of this guy's work and like get more of it. Oh man, I love it so much. But yeah, that's my general thoughts there, I guess. You know, very summed up in the worst way possible.
It's better than the nonsense mishmash of words I threw out.
Oh man. All right. Well, I think there's only one thing left to do in this episode.
There's only one thing left.
That's for you. You got to tell everybody, including me, what we're watching next week, because I have no idea.
I have left you in the dark on purpose. Oh, buddy. Basically,
What is it?
Talking about this show required too much intellectual capacity. My brain is shot from this. Like, this show made me think, and I only got so much thinking juice.
Yeah, once a month. I know.
So I need some dumb brain juice now. Well, no. So I was having a little bit of a difficult time figuring out what I wanted to watch. I had like an assortment of options, but I wasn't really narrowing it down. And so I messaged Seaweed and was like, hey, what genres do you think we haven't done yet? And his suggestions were romance and sports. We haven't done one of either of those. We've kind of done romance with Data Live.
Yeah, it's still more harem, I would say, than romance.
We haven't done like a straight romance show.
Yeah.
Just straight as it's like, you know what I mean.
Or gay.
You know what I mean, though, like playing it serious.
Yeah, exactly. I got you.
But after conferring with a friend, I found a show that you have not seen, that I have seen, and it's nice and stupid, and it's going to be one hell of a break from what this was. We're going into the dumb realm of one of my favorite stupid sports anime. We're watching Keijo next week. Yes!
I've been waiting. Man. I've wanted to watch this show for so long. I just never got around to it. I'm hyped. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see girls battling with their butts, bro.
We're kicking it into dumb brain mode next week, and I'm ready to just shut down and watch some stupidity.
Get ready to bonk us on the head for being horny. Gotta say, because I feel like that's gonna happen.
Oh boy. So for all the like deep thinky good and evil that this show had, we're gonna throw that all out the window for next week, and it's gonna be a riot, and y'all should be here for it.
It's gonna be great. I'm looking forward to it. Oh man, I got a big smile on my face. It's great. All right.
Oh boy.
Well, Is that it? Okay, let me go. I'll do our quick shill.
All right, go
Shill.
for
I
it.
know
I
you
want to
hate this.
crack open my
I'll do it.
sandwich. I want to eat.
Okay, if you if you don't know, we have a audio version and a video version for whichever one you listen to. Video version obviously on YouTube. Audio is on anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Go check us out there. You can follow me and Wob on Twitter. Links down below. You follow my YouTube channel. I post videos now. It's pretty cool, pretty sick. Go follow me there. If you would like to support us, you can listen to us on Anchor. We got ads there. Gives us a little bit. Or you can directly donate to us, again, on Anchor. And if you do that, you just send us a screenshot. Just DM one of us, and we will shout your name out at the end of the episode.
If you wish for us to do that.
Yeah, if you wish. Or you don't. We don't have
You don't
to.
even have to send anything our way. We're in this for
We
funsies.
really don't have to send anything our way. Exactly. We're having fun. We're having a good time, bro. Just having fun.
Why do you think I got 2 bottles of vodka? This is for laughs.
I think I think that's the end of our shill section. Made it quick and painless. Just like ripping a Band-Aid off there. I know you hate that.
I wouldn't say painless.
So.
I still had to sit through it.
All right. Well, with that being said, we will see you guys next week with Keijo.
Next week for Keijo with 8 exclamation points. But for now, y'all have a great night, and I'm going to mow into what's left of the sandwich. Dude, I'm so hungry.
I got to get some Pop-Tarts, bro.
Crock-Tarts!
No.
We'll see you next week for episode 19. Bye-bye.